The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly haunting since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. Orbs rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Welcome to the Raw Side. I'm glad y'all could come and join us. I want to say hello to everybody who's come to hang out with us. It's Carla. Hi. Rob, Jillian, Blossom. I don't know if I missed anybody. I'm trying to catch everybody. Hi guys. Welcome. It's going to be a great stream. We have the famous Joe Vitale and the lovely Dawn of the Dead. And I want you to put your hands together and welcome them. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Jeff.
We were having some internet issues there for a second.
I seen it. That's why
I was like, oh, well, what's going on here?
why I was making the intro a little bit longer. Because I see you trying to figure something out. Usually me, yeah, something gets pulled out and you're like, oh shit, what the hell happened? And it always happens at the worst time. Hi, Sydney, welcome. So how have you guys been?
We've been very like busy, you know. Went to a Led Zeppelin tribute concert thingy yesterday, and then we got out of Beetlejuice about, 2 hours ago? Nah, about an hour and a half ago.
What did you think of it?
It was okay.
Not as good as the first.
Let's be honest, the first one wasn't great. It was good. But it was, I mean, it was enjoyable.
Oh, that's good. At least it wasn't a waste of money. Hi, Julie, welcome. Because you always know sequels are usually crash and burn. So figured I'd ask before I even bother wasting any time or money to go see it. I'll just wait for it to come out on a DVD.
I honestly, it probably should have been. It should have been done sooner than later.
Right. Oh, because everybody's so old.
Yeah. Well, not just that. It's just there was something magical about the first Beetlejuice, right? Because at the time it was different, right? Like you didn't really have anything quite like that. And now here we are many, many years later. And again, it was good, but that magic was lost a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So yeah. So oh yeah, I would agree. Yeah, you wait so long and then when they put it out, it's just not the same. It's like you said, that
Right.
that magic that the first movie had, it just doesn't work now because everything that's been out, and plus, special effects in a lot of these movies, and then when you've got it's like more like a kid type movie. So, I just doesn't fit nowadays.
Yeah,
And of course I haven't seen it, so
they actually censored it.
really.
Yeah, Beetlejuice went to say drop an F bomb
No, but they
and
did drop a few F bombs in the
and
movie.
it got
I
censored.
think they did that on purpose, but
Well, when somebody
there
else went
was-
to drop the F bomb, it did like came out all like weird.
Okay, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but
you're reminding me of playing with your guitar pick. That I need to get the guitar pick out of my pants from yesterday that they gave me. I don't have a guitar pick. I have a drumstick.
Nice.
Now I have a guitar pick. They're friends of mine, so I got.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember you guys saying that you were going to go. So did you really enjoy that? Was it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Joe's
I-
not a big Led Zeppelin
I
fan, but
I don't care about.
he'll
Like,
agree they're good musicians.
I mean, they're good musicians. I just don't like Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. Okay, yeah, they're
Okay,
not everybody's
hot
cup of
take.
tea.
I've seen them like a dozen times, and I'm not a huge Led Zeppelin fan either, but they're my friends. So
Well, it's good showing them some support, and as long as you had fun, that's all that matters.
yeah, it's good to see
All
'em.
right. Yeah, well, it's good. You guys, all right, we're gonna just jump right into it. You did a video the other day, about your research, and which a lot of people, including yourselves, have done a lot to come to the conclusions that you found on this one investigation that you did, and we pretty much just want to know pretty much what you found and what your advice would be on doing this kind of research, why we should do it, and so on.
So, I want to say this: we're not calling the owners liars or anything like that. They claim that they hired historians, and this is what they're hearing from people and things like that. It's okay to say we don't know if this is true or not. This is what we were told. This is what we're hearing, and leave it at that, because that is something that I've encountered, and even Dawn has encountered when we investigate. Hey, this is what we heard, but we don't know, so we don't put it out there really. And I actually most of the time just kind of ignore that. But when you have people writing books and on video showing a photo of somebody that is not the person, not the location, and repeat this over and over again, then we have to question what's going on here, because we know, like, we factually know, because we have the proof right here,
Right.
and we know the house number, we know the address, we know where it once was. And I mean, it's written on the back. We have names.
Right.
And that's not necessarily how the research really started anyways. I was trying to
There's
find that
one
photo.
question that I was going to ask you. I didn't ask before. Sorry to interrupt, but what tipped you off to check into what you were told?
A
lot.
lot. I mean, a lot of investigators who had been to the house, and then hearing, I need to be careful about how I say that. We'll just say that there are those bigger channels that have gone to the house, and they're like, allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but when things have been brought up, they've been threatened to be sued. Which, I mean, you can threaten me all day long about suing me. I don't care. Like, I really don't. And I mean, I have, like I said, I have the proof. I have the records. I have literally a folder. I may have to make another folder of things that were incorrect.
Well, and to be honest, like when we just like would open the book, we put a few different people, on the case with us to kind of dig up some stuff. Every time we turn, it was a new rabbit hole. And just pulling up Ancestry alone, like there's some things so simple. It's like, how would any historian or anyone who's been hired to look up stuff miss this? Like, this is simple. How do you miss this? And the picture that was shared, that postcard on their social media site was dated 2018, that they've been sharing that photo since then.
I mean, we have,
And it was on eBay before, from a person who was selling postcards, and the person that I bought it from this other dealer. So there was a long stretch of when it wasn't online, and I guess somehow they got it in 2018, that image. I don't know. It's really strange. But we uncovered so many holes that it took a long time to get to where we are now.
Oh yeah.
let me see here. I'm gonna get ready to share a screen here.
Okay.
But I don't know how it's going to look on StreamYard because the panel that I'm using is an HDR panel and it looks
Bright.
right on this end. But I'll go ahead and I'll share that. Yeah,
That's
that
not too
looks-
bad.
Yeah, it's not too
It
bad.
doesn't look as good as what we're seeing on the other screen.
Right. So basically the picture is almost blown up. Now this is a high resolution scan of this photo and it looks great. Like
Yeah,
I
it
should
shows up
believe-
great.
Now the address on the house is actually 501. This is
For the actual house.
Yeah, for the actual house. This is 615. And I know where this house is. It's not there anymore, but it no longer exists, unfortunately. And man in the folder is not who they're claiming it to be, obviously. I mean,
Right.
and it was,
Although he does look like a gambler, got the vest.
it looks like he may have been a man who owned a business or something like that. He looks like,
Yeah.
I mean, given the house and everything, he must have
He
been-
had some kind of money.
yeah.
Now, see the door to the left? Am I allowed to talk about the social media thing they said on the cover photo or no?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. So even recently, when they claimed they were removing a picture, and I thought it was going to be this one's still up. And I just happened to yesterday notice it was also a cover picture for them. Well, someone had said, what's the door to the left? Because that's where the certain, am I allowed to say the room?
Excellent.
Yeah, the axe room would be. And they're like, why would they have access to that? Oh, well, brothels had outside access doors sometimes. It was what the owners were saying. Like, how can you make this stuff up when, and I'm not saying make it up as in lying, but like, how can you say something like that and put it on your social media when you don't know for sure about
Right.
the blueprints of the house? And like, they said that was covered up by a window.
Trying to see if I have a photo
It
of the
doesn't make
original
sense.
house or the actual house.
Right. Well, no, I agree with you, Don, because usually if we have a brothel, if you guys were going to sneak in or out, it wasn't usually
Not
through
a
the
front
front of the
door.
house.
And a side door there.
Right, right. It would
And
be a
that was
back
supposed to
door
be
or
the
something.
madam's room. That's supposed to be where the madam stay. Why? I don't know.
But I mean, there's a lot of differences here. I mean, the size of the windows, the chimney when you compare it to the actual house. I know somewhere I have a photo, or I mean, yeah, I have a photo somewhere of the actual house. I don't know.
Well, there's not that offshoot to the right in the current house either. The roof is all off. Everything is completely
Right.
wrong.
And this was in a neighborhood because we can see here, we have a fence back in this area and there's a house. So this was in a neighborhood, and I was able to figure that out by doing a Google search. Like, it was easy. I mean, this house used to be where the airport is now. and Grayson.
Right. Okay.
So, one of the things that, and it's not just me, it's many other investigators as well, dragging people's name through the mud. This man can't defend himself. There's no laws against slandering the dead at all. But I mean, it's amazing though, because we were accused of slandering and shit like that. But it's okay for them to do this to this guy who can't defend himself. Well, only because there's no laws against that.
And we're not saying like fake history and lying. Again, it's like we don't know the purpose behind all of what has been kind of taught in the history part of this location. Because, saying that you've hired all these people, plus saying the spirit box and psychics have given you information. I mean, that's what they've had to go on. And we already know with the drama and the paranormal about relying on the spirits to tell you stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to fly in court.
They're not credible sources.
Right. And
if you have that, why don't you go and research it? Oh, we got this name. Let's see if we can find it anywhere. Because that's what you would do for research.
Right.
Right. No. So, but the other thing too is that, the claim is that, there's many spirits that pass through here and there's portals. And it's like, look, this whole portal thing is, no, it's.
Well, and bringing in all the
stop.
haunted objects and, the attachments and, is there something attached to it? It's a lot.
I mean, there's a lot here, and let me bring this up. Okay, so we were told that, hey, in this folder, there's this, the history of the house. Now, I was told that, oh, no, you shouldn't go off on that because somebody else did it and it's wrong. Okay, so then.
But this has been shared on multiple big YouTube channels. They even showed it on the screen. And one of them, watch this. They show it on the screen and they didn't get in trouble and say, hey, take it down or we're going to sue you. They show the whole thing.
Right.
And read it if you want.
Right.
And it's actually changed since the one we saw. It's weird. It's changed 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's changed a couple of times. So we have this one here that was being shared. This is where they got it from. Let me knock it back some. So this has changed. Then we have another team who sent us because they took pictures of the history paper as well. They sent it to me, and it was a little different than what we got.
Right.
And I mean, it's here.
And isn't this all supposed to be in a book that was done by a professional historian?
I don't know if I'm about a professional historian.
So-called professional.
Right. So you shouldn't get a copyright for this. There's no audio. We're just showing, and we're well within our rights of fair use here. It goes on a little long. All right, so here we go. We see the name. Where's it at? They call him Lester here, but it's William Lester Kyle.
Right.
He did something horrible to his niece twice.
Supposedly, right.
She had 2 of his babies. They both died. One died years before the other,
murder.
They insinuate murder. But when we look,
there's no record.
There's no record. In fact,
Right.
And I'll show the episode of Portals to Hell. They were presented with a death certificate. Oh, this is his death certificate. No, it's a dude's death certificate, but not the guy who lived there. He didn't have a niece named Sarah. That's factual.
He had a sister.
He had a sister named Sarah,
Right.
but she was married and had her own kids. So in this book, we can see, and I'll pull this up too. again, this is the same photo that I had shown you guys,
Right.
claiming it to be the house. And I mean, here's the house.
Right.
And you see the dormer window is way, way, way bigger. Like
I'll do the
size.
comparison actually.
Dormer windows really don't serve a purpose, but in that location, you can actually walk up and look out of it. Newer dormer windows, you can't even see out of them.
This is a very different house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's no denying that. You can't deny that.
Well, the porch doesn't go on the older one, doesn't go all the way over, whereas the location, the porch goes all the way to the end of the house.
Oh no, yeah, okay, I see what I did. Oh, I got confused. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm showing. Yeah, these are very different homes. I mean that is obvious. They're similar in some ways, but overall, they're a completely different home.
Yeah, there's 3 chimneys on this one.
But you know, they had presented this. Let me find it here. I know I have it somewhere.
The
Anyways,
top one,
I got to be careful about one of them because
did you black it out?
that one is not blacked out.
Mm.
No, it has a social security number on there, and I don't want to put a social security number on there.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
So this is here. This is the lady who wrote that book. There's a picture of Willie in my book. He's standing in front of the porch. We have found documents for Joshua to have been to numbers of grave sites. Okay, so let's talk about the grave sites here.
Well, in her book, the only pictures of the grave sites are the ones that we know exist.
Yeah.
There is.
But where are
No other one.
these 2 kids? So Jacob and Joshua, they were
Look how blurry that is.
yeah. They were the whole Sarah and Willie story. And where Willie did this horrific thing to his niece and causing her to have these kids. That's who Jacob and Joshua are supposed to be, but we can't find. I've even had other investigators, and we actually know one of those investigators. She's here from time to time watching and stuff like that. They went to different cemeteries. They couldn't find anything. They researched. One of the people is actually supposed to be related to the family that lived here long ago.
Okay.
She couldn't find anything, nothing at all. And even I'll bring this up. So here's basically the family tree. There's William Lester Kyle, and there's his wife Mary. You know, they had children, but when we go look at his brothers and sisters, this is the Sarah Elizabeth. We have the Sarah Elizabeth. I may have to move this. This may be hard for you guys to see, unfortunately, because of my monitor being high dynamic or HDR. But there is nowhere, anywhere for Jacob, for Joshua. No matter where I look, it absolutely does not matter. We cannot find these 2 kids. Even calling the cemeteries, and guys, call those cemeteries. Just don't take our word for it. Call those cemeteries. Call
Right.
these cemeteries outside of Mineral Wells.
Oh, for Monroe House, I called.
They're not there.
I called the a government office, and he was going to meet us there to show us where the certain grave was, because the city had not marked everything, made record enough, and he's like, "You're never going to find it, so I'll come down and help you." But then we couldn't get our schedules to work, so we kind of gave up on getting a picture of a grave for that location. Yeah.
Actually, somebody I know hooked me up with a group that strictly deal with cemeteries and they do in-depth research apparently on finding who the people are and where they are located in cemeteries. I'll have to send you that and see if they could probably help you with the two missing kids.
I doubt they'll need to.
And this is on their website, and it's right there. The author. That's Willie Kyle from the 1930s.
Well, and in that cover photo, it says he stayed there till 1955. So I think that's the timestamp of his death. But in the book, if anybody will recall when we talked about this book, the timeline for the ownership for different owners, there's a ton of gaps of various owners or businesses or banks that have taken it back during that time frame. Like
Right.
the book itself doesn't show that one person stayed there till 1955.
I'm going to switch over. I'm going to switch over monitors.
Look at that stamp.
Yep, hang on.
Yeah,
If it
that's
wasn't
cool.
stamped, it'd be worth a lot of money.
Fortune, right?
Yeah, that's
Why
would
do they
be
have to
worth,
stamp it?
That's
worth
what
a
my
fortune.
husband
Yeah.
did. He saw that. He goes, boy, he says, if they didn't have a mark on it, they'd be loaded. I said, yeah, I know. Its stamp would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the rare Benjamin Franklin stamps.
Right.
There's two different ones, and that's
Hi, Jonathan. Welcome. Yeah, I also, because I was going to ask you, because the photograph that I sent you also claimed that was the house. And that's when I was questioning you, because the layout of that house was incorrect as well. That's why I asked you if they did like an addition at some point that nobody knew about. And you said no, that wasn't even the house.
No,
But
it was not.
it was family member on the porch. So whose house they were at, I have no idea.
Okay. Was that the photo with all the women on the porch?
No, the one with the husband, wife, and the kids.
You remember that?
That was that's a different house. I think that was William and his wife Mary with the children. I think
Right.
that's what it was. But yeah, I went ahead here and switched.
Okay.
So that photo was taken, in the 1930s, but we can see right here that is absolutely not true. This was taken at
1908.
the very latest, 1908.
1908, right?
Right. And it was taken to the minerals office, stamped at
December. It does say December 14th. Is that what it says?
Or December 4th, one of those.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Okay, yeah.
Probably 1/4, because the 0 would be too big for that space.
Now, we know that we know Rachel, she passed away in 1907. And the man in the photo, or referred to as Papa, he died in 1908. Now, when you look at his what is it? The family tree, whatever it is, it says that he died in a completely different year, but that is incorrect. We was able to
Because
track
his
him.
actual headstone
Yeah.
says 1908.
Well, if it is, I was able to locate three headstones, all the same date, things like that. But there is one that is buried in the same cemetery as Rachel, and
Right.
I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, if they're both buried in the cemetery, chances are that's him. But his name is
Right.
Archie. And then the granddaughter, Tempest Ricketts.
Well, didn't you find them on the census records when you were looking for the address of that?
Yep, I found the address, where it was, things like that. I found a lot of stuff, but mainly I was focusing on Willie, on his story there.
Yeah, but now this also raises a problem too, because not only do you have the William Lester Kyle in question, who you're saying did all these horrible things, but you're taking a picture that's someone totally different too. So you got
Right.
two men being dragged. Like, what if their family members were looking that up and saw that and be like, wait a minute, that's not who they're saying it
Right. They're
is.
saying, hey, wait a minute. That's got nothing to do with that story.
Right. And here he is. He's 60 years old at this point. And it's showing that he lived in
Mingus.
Mingus, Palo Pinto, Texas,
Same
which is
county.
the same county, but not Mineral Wells.
Right.
And they put William unless they didn't finish off the M at the top. I love when
Yeah.
they handwrite stuff in there back in the day.
And this is all in the census and his records and stuff like that.
Then who he worked for.
Right, who he
the
worked
salvage
for.
company.
And I mean, it was so easy. Like, it was one of the easiest things that I was able to research.
And then back then too, they worked the same company all their lives.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not always, but mostly.
His handwriting was atrocious.
Let's see, and like I said, the stuff here, this was, I mean, they call it that. I mean, it says history of the house, and then I will find.
Oh, Giselle wanted to know, was that the card for the draft?
Was that a draft card?
I think so. Let me go back.
I'm trying to
Let me go
catch up in chat, guys. Sorry. Rob, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about my background? Yeah, I changed it, if that's what you're talking about.
Registration card, yep. Men born on or after April 28th, 1877 or before. That was his draft card.
Okay, yes. There you go. So yeah, you can't get any more legal than that, the draft draft card. So
Right.
He's 60 and still gonna fight.
They bodies. That's all they wanted was
that
bodies.
was it. Yeah.
But then let me go back to this, and see if I can find. Okay, so here's this. I'm gonna try to pause this at the correct time here.
There.
Oh,
You
hang
missed
on.
it a little bit, but there's that.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Right there. Right there it is.
They blew up the
Let me
picture.
here put this over here because it was playing on the other one. So there that is. Showing and telling, and we are well within our rights to show this because we are doing basically journalism, criticism, whatever. This falls under the fair use law.
Right.
So we're allowed to show this. They can claim that they have a copyright and they own all the stuff. No. There is the Fair Use Act that we can use at our disposal, and it's there to protect us, to give criticism, for reviews,
But we
all
can
kinds of
prove
other
that
stuff.
that's not who they're saying it is in the first place.
Right. So we can see, and hopefully the chat can see, and I'll even though it'll be hard to see here, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
Everything.
And he's pictured in both books.
And then
Not who they're saying it is.
let me go ahead here and move on. Now, she turns it around. Hold on. Let me make sure I get a good shot of this. Boom.
The house.
There it is.
Further away.
Although it is further away, that's the house. I think I actually do.
You can tell that's probably a screenshot. The black bars above
Mhm.
it, they didn't crop
It is a screenshot.
Yeah.
So somebody took a picture of that on their phone, like did a screenshot on their phone, or took a picture on their phone, saved it, and then we have this.
Yeah, that was in the scratch.
Now I
report.
do believe I do go like to a super crop it because I have like I need this and in case. But she's telling the story, and we have no audio. But basically, she's talking about William Lester Kyle, what he did, how the house was run. No, it's just the timing. The timing isn't there. There's so many discrepancies. So I had to let that play out a little bit. Now let me fast forward this a little bit. I had to let this play out. All right, so
Yeah, you can see. Yep.
yeah, you can see it. Yeah. And there it is. I mean, it's pixelated, but that's
Yep.
the same as this.
That same photo.
And it's one of a kind. Like there is no other like this.
The problem that this poses for investigators, if you're a true investigator and you're unfortunately relying on information given to you until you can do your own research, because some people don't do it ahead of time, they wait till after, which is what we pretty much did. I looked up a little bit before we went, but you're calling out for names of people that you're being told to look for and ask for, but then you go and do all this research and go, wait a second, if this isn't right, I've wasted my time. Like, what if that's something else that's there that is not being asked for, and no one is, we're all skipping over what's actually there because we're focused on this narrative that is inaccurate.
Now, this is from Portals to Hell. This is the death certificate that I also found. I can't show it because I didn't blur out the social security number. But this is what they, one of the owners said, this is his, we have his death certificate. We have his death certificate. Portals to Hell didn't find the death certificate. They did. And where they got that from and why they believe that's the guy who lived in the house and did these things.
But they said he
don't know.
died of alcohol poisoning, and it's clear on this death certificate, if they would have paid attention, if there's 3 heart issues here.
Right.
The immediate cause is coronary occlusion due to coronary sclerosis, so hardening of the valves in your heart, and then the arteriosclerosis due to chronic, and it's chronic. That means he's had that for a while, but that's why he died. And that's probably why he lived till, how old was he when he died? Like 78?
60 something or
So 78 in his
Oh,
life.
was he?
Yeah, 78. Yep.
And he probably could have lived a lot longer.
He could have lived a little longer had he not had the heart problems. It wasn't alcohol poisoning.
No.
It wasn't listed as that. And then it shows again he worked in a brickyard. I don't know about you, but if I worked a hard labor job in a brickyard, I wouldn't be not going home to my wife and 8 or 9 kids and going to work in a brothel and run that
Exactly.
all evening and day. And I'm already working a lot. I don't know. I'm a common sense, sarcastic person, and that's what I come up with.
Now, we were told, and again, I don't know where they're getting their information from, but if it's coming from the historians,
Fire them and get your money
they
back.
need to they need to go, because this is ridiculous. And I'm not the only one who did this kind of research. I'm just the only idiot that's putting it out there.
Well, because it's the truth.
And Laura, we've had other people help with this. You know about that. I don't want to say who or anything like that. I don't want to throw people under the bus and get them threatened or anything like that. Let me see.
And he was
here.
also buried in a different cemetery.
Yeah,
I
he
was told too.
Now, here is so William is supposed to be William Barclay Kyle's son, Fanny's stepson. So we're gonna go ahead here and come on, Family Search, do your thing. Whoops, something went wrong.
Site can't be reached.
Yeah,
How
this-
unusual.
yeah, I don't know why it's doing this. Yeah, this site can't be reached right now. Okay, so I do have, well, it's printed out.
Can we grab this folder? Do you need it?
I may have to. It's not going to do any good because they're not going to be able to
Have
see it.
I'll
Yeah,
Give it to you anyway.
literally.
I told him to get a folder.
You're going to need a bigger
You're
folder.
gonna need a
Good
bigger one.
Lord. Wow, this is a lot of work, a lot of paper.
All right, so the story is that William Barclay Kyle is the son of that. Hold on, that pisses me off that that's not working. I'm going to stop screen sharing because I want to show the work.
Right.
That is an absolute like important thing. Show the work. Here, I don't. What the hell is the problem?
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, it's not popping up. I'm gonna do a video on it anyways. So, William Barclay Kyle, he was married 3 times. I believe it was 3 times. What did I do with that?
The
Folder.
folder.
Yeah, because I need to be able to remember. Because I do have the family tree and pedigree stuff printed out. All right. Pedigree chart.
They are dogs. Okay.
All right. So we know James Morton Kyle is William Lester Kyle's father, not William Berkeley Kyle. It's right there.
Right.
You know this. So there's their story from somewhere, I don't know where the hell they got it from, is that his sons, William Barclay Kyle's sons, I should say, or Fanny's stepchildren, took over the house and ran it as this brothel and bootlegging and all this other stuff. No, none of his children. He is not in their family tree. William Lester Kyle is not in the family tree. This is a different Kyle family altogether. Like they're not even related. We can't even find a relation of any kind. But you know, like my last name's Vitale. You know how many Vitalis there are out there that I am absolutely not related to?
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, there's a lot of Kyles, and in the area actually as well.
Right. So the person who, so after Fanny and her sister, which I'll get to that here in a second, after they died, it was Deborah or Savannah Deborah Winfrow's son who took over.
Preacher?
He was a preacher. He took over the house up until like 1929 or something like that. And then he sold it. He moved out of Mineral Wells to do whatever. I think he joined the service or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And then, boom, was sold to somebody else. That person is on, you can find that deed. You can literally find that deed. That's where things start. Going back to Deborah and the sister, and I'll go ahead. This is something that I do have to screen share because I have to show the work. Okay. Okay. So let me find it here. After Mr. Kyle passed away, Fanny moved in with her crazy sister Deborah Renfro. That's not what happened. Deborah moved Fanny into that house. That's what Deborah's name, as far back as we can go, she's the head of household, not Fanny.
Right.
Fanny lived in a completely different house. Deborah was the one who was living in the house that we are talking about. To help raise her stepsons, Willie and Curly. There's no William Lester Kyle. Curly's a nickname. We were told, and there's a video of this where they say Curly's name. And oddly enough, it's William Barkley Kyle. But that's weird because you have William Lester Kyle. That doesn't make any sense. Why would somebody name two boys the same name?
And Fanny is on record and there's a book called Gothic Texas, which we also read.
It's back there, actually.
Yeah. And that guy, Joe, actually did have a conversation with him about some of this history. And he said, if I find it to be wrong, I'm going to research it again. Anything I find to be wrong in my next edition, I will correct it and make sure that it's out of there. You know, he's actually looking into some stuff. But it's mentioned in there that Fanny filed against a certain person in the neighborhood for prostitution.
The neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor.
Literally the next door neighbor.
For accusations of prostitution. And they called her kind of a spinster. They were calling Fanny an old teacher spinster character that was really against that kind of lifestyle.
Right.
And here they are, like saying what her stepsons after her death are taking over the home and running it the way she would never have agreed to. She'd be rolling in her grave.
Oh yeah. Or she'd be the one haunting it, that's for sure.
Right. So we can even, and again, I'm going to do a video on this. For whatever reason, I cannot get. That's really driving me nuts.
Well, we could go out and go back in if you want to see if you can fix it.
I mean, we
did earlier.
could jump out and jump back in.
Because
But-
you do have to share
You-
some stuff.
All right. So, you know, it was Deborah that moved Fanny in, not the other way around. And Deborah wasn't crazy. There's nowhere that gives evidence that Deborah was
Well, they're
crazy.
running on the story of a lady who, you know, claimed to have some mental illness. It was not this person affiliated with the home, but in town there's a whole story, a backstory on this lady who felt she got cured by the crazy water in the town by drinking it out of the well. It has nothing to do with the family that is mentioned here. It is a totally different person. So if these are indeed notes from another team that, you know, stayed in the house for however long and got changed, they may have mixed up the story a little bit with the crazy water.
I'm not even, I can't, it's hard for me to buy that because we see, and then that one video from Twin Paranormal, that's a year old.
Mhm.
And we see the changes that are being made. So it's like, you mean to tell me this one team
And I'm trying to
printed
think.
printed
You know
off
what?
printed off a bunch of these,
No,
and
we
they're all
actually-
different from one another? Like the information is different from one another. How many times did the team go to this house?
We actually
And nobody checked any of it?
I can't mention it.
Right. I mean, and the writing on it, like some of the corrections, when I look at the corrections,
Remind me to tell you.
I know whose handwriting that is. I'm not a handwriting expert, but I know whose handwriting that is.
There's something that I'll
Um,
tell you afterwards that
okay.
we can check.
Okay.
So we may have a breakthrough on something else.
Right. Now,
Good.
here we have Mr. Kyle from the Texas Rangers and Mineral Wells. Okay. Mr. Kyle did not form the Texas Rangers and Minerals. No, they were already established. Mr. Kyle joined. He enlisted in his 40s, and in his obituary, because they even mention his obituary, that Mr. Kyle, you can find this information in his obituary. We go to the obituary, it says that he joined in his 40s. He did not create, he did not start, nothing. It was already established when he got there. So this is incorrect.
And then the house wasn't during the Civil War, wasn't built during the
No.
Civil War. We went through the what is it? The
Sanborn maps.
Sanborn maps, insurance maps, and went through the timeline of when it possibly was built on that street, and it's nowhere near the Civil War time.
Yeah, I had to print this one out.
Right. Well,
But-
did they say they weren't sure of the exact time or year it was built?
Well, it's all over the place.
So there may have been something there, like there could have been a stable or something, or livestock. What was it called? I can't remember. What might have been there first. And again, that's might have, but with the map, there was nothing there until 1906.
Okay.
And then this thing that I had to print out, because I like reached out.
Do you need light?
No, I'm just going to basically what this person who when Dawn and I didn't actually realize it, but he was an attorney, I know that. But I don't know what he had to do with this historical society. But at any rate, yeah, Dawn and I had a long phone conversation with this guy, and I mean he pointed me in all kinds of like directions, which was really cool. I'm like, holy crap, because mineral wealth is extremely well documented.
Yeah.
It is a very well documented. I was impressed.
Well, I'll go ahead.
But basically, he's saying, okay, yeah, the Kyle family, no, they weren't here during the Civil War, which is true. They didn't come till what, 20 years, 30 years, something like that, after the Civil War. And they were from I believe it was Tennessee. And basically he said, yeah, that stuff and history needs to be burned, because I sent him what we're seeing here. I said, in my opinion, and I don't think it actually came from, I think that came from someone else, but still the same historical place.
Right.
But excuse me. But yeah, Dawn and I, we had a conversation with that guy, and I had no idea he was an attorney. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't mean to put up that can of worms. And then we're not going to read this out, but then we get to William Lester Kyle, and it's with one of the kids dying.
Right.
The way this is worded, it should be known in a newspaper or some kind of, because if it's in the 1950s, 1940s, I found so many news articles of deaths and
yeah, don't say it.
Don't say. I got ready to say it.
Yeah.
Self-deletion. I'm so used to.
Right. Yeah, it would be documented. I agree with you.
Everything is documented. So the way this is written is like a news article. Like, how do you know these details? If we can't find documentation of this, how do you know these details? Where does it come
Right.
in?
And this isn't written as, nowhere is this written as, oh, well, we believe, or this is what we're hearing. History of the house.
You get from who. We have documentation. We have documentation. We have documentation. Where's this documentation?
Right.
So-
Where's the paperwork to back it up?
Right. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. you know, then I actually did call the Mineral Wells police department, or no, not called. I'm sorry. I did message, which I should probably see.
Well, and I also talked to the Office of the Justice of the Peace because they also work as the coroner because it's a small
Right.
town. And one person there used to work in the county records, and she agreed with me. There should be some documentation somewhere, but she lived there since she was in second grade, she said. And she's like, I'm very familiar with this whole area, and I don't know these kinds of stories. She offered to talk to her mother, who was still alive, and see if she knew anything. And she said, I'll call you back if she remembers anything. I never got a call.
I even fuck.
Yeah,
Is it gonna show?
no. It's too blurry. A little bit.
It's trying to focus.
Yeah. All right. So
There
anyhow,
you go.
I emailed the police department to get some information, seeing if this murder self deletion happened. I even, and you can see, I think I forgot to tell you this.
Hmm. Yeah, he always forgets to tell me all kinds of important
I
things.
even freaking,
He gets around to it.
I even messaged the
3 years
mayor.
later.
I messaged
All
the mayor.
right.
It's like trying to get, like, you know, for information. I haven't not heard anything back, but I know that they're busy. They have far more important things going on, but I will follow up on that because I want to know. Because if I'm wrong, oh shit, I'm wrong.
Exactly.
I'm an asshole.
No, we would correct anything that, but unfortunately, what we have found is pretty accurate. And what we're not finding, it's not really fair to run with those narratives and continue to run with it as an investigator, paying for a location that you want to, even if you don't have a whole lot of information to run on, like say you didn't do any research, no one tells you a narrative, but later you go and do research, oh, I should have asked if this person was there or use these names. We always backtrack, but to get a 2 to 3 hour tour and then use all of that info and be confused and like this is like information overload, and then you go back and research and go, yeah, this where's all this stuff coming from?
I also want to be very clear that neither one of us or anyone that was with us, we're not saying this place is not haunted. We're not saying that at all.
Right.
It's definitely interesting.
And-
It's just
but-
it's just the story doesn't match up with what you think is
No.
going on there.
I mean, we investigated it, and there are these rumors that, oh, that place is rigged. They got it rigged up to make people think it's haunted, and there's no speakers behind any walls. There isn't anything rigged, although, what does come into question is their blink cameras. I know that there was a team that was there who was like, hey, do you think that sound may have come from the, those speakers? And I guess there was a huge argument about it. And then I guess alleged, I'm just saying all this is alleged, but this, they were threatened to be sued if they put that information out there.
They say only half of groups make it through the night.
There's a lot of priming going on. That's the problem.
Yeah.
When you have all of these stories about
You're not going to be
demons
able
and
to sleep in this room. They're going to bother you. I slept like a baby.
and this is something too that I want to talk about is that this is actually, and no joke, literally, this is abuse. This is mental abuse. Literally. You have people come, you tell them all these crazy stories, right? You are planting seeds in people's heads that is going to scare them.
Look
And
at the bottom. Read that. Don't sleep in the house.
Right.
The bad entities wait for you to sleep to attack. most of the time. They will tell you to go to sleep or ask if you're getting tired. You piss Toby or Willie off, you get hurt.
Yeah, that shouldn't even be in there.
That's a threat. That's bodily
Right.
injury threat.
Right. And this is literally the very definition of psychological abuse. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but when you plant those seeds in people's heads, especially these YouTubers, well, a lot of them are just going to run with it. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the YouTubers that I've talked to, or hear about, like especially the big YouTube channels, they're like, yeah, no, we're whatever, just running with it.
Yeah, and Wayne made a good point. I mean, just because someone died in a location doesn't mean it's haunted.
Right.
Right.
But you're priming people to be afraid. You're setting people up to be afraid. That is wrong to do to anybody.
This, that little bulleted point above. The entities do not like talking about how they died. Well, then how'd you get their story from your psychics and your spirit boxes?
When they were saying the spirits told them, well, what was it?
The entities don't like talking about how they died. Well,
They just contradicted what they were saying.
then don't tell us how they died.
Right. And where did the demon thing come from? How do they know that there's a demon there?
Well, they said that they had a lot of that come from their cameras. Like they would hear that the spirit box, it would continuously bring the name up, and then one time it said, "I'm this, I'm a demon," and they just ran with that and started doing a Google search on the name and came up with what Joe knows a lot about that entity. That's what the channel is saying. Right. And if anything, when we were there, it had an opportunity to mess with Joe a whole lot. And that didn't happen. Not to say there's something that's not there.
So there's like two different versions. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it was the same demon that that Joe has already had a previous encounter with, obviously it would have went after him while he was there.
Well, I mean, if there's a demon there, it's a bitch. That's all I'm saying. It is a bitch. The thing is, I mean, for it to be a demon, it sure was absolutely fucking useless. Like, so I've heard two stories. One is that there was a child named Toby who died one night, I was like in their sleep or something like that. And this family wanted to contact this child, got into occult stuff, whatever. And then there's this other story about a family that lived there in the 90s that did these, I don't know, they were doing ritual. Really, they were just dicking around with Ouija boards and shit like that, is what it comes down to.
The teenagers.
Yeah. The mother was, apparently into like, the whole like Wiccan pagan thing. But the girl also admits, I mean, it's in the book, literally in the book, the girl admits that her and her mother have been diagnosed medically with schizophrenia. But allegedly, what they were doing was the thing that conjured up this demonic entity. But they go on by talking about how they were seeing like these figures, short figures, all this other stuff. But I'm like, they're schizophrenic though. So, I mean,
right.
I mean, that's a hard one because, I mean, if somebody's schizophrenic, they don't know.
Right. They don't know
what's
real and what's not.
Right. But I mean, here's the thing. All right, we have taken away a lot of the stories, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'll go ahead here. I'll stop sharing for a while. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means, well, this is a lot stranger. Why would this place be haunted? If we take away, these stories of Willie, Curly, the Priscilla, the Joshua, the Jacob. I mean, that's 5 right there, squashed. That only leaves.
Well, there's 6. Elizabeth,
Well,
Sarah, Elizabeth.
well, no,
Yeah, we got Willie, Curly,
Yeah.
Sarah, Jacob, Joshua, Priscilla. That's 6.
all right. So that's 6 ghosts squashed. But now that leaves us with the 2 ladies, and we're not even 100% sure if Fanny actually died in the house. She likely did. We know Deborah did, but on Fanny's death certificate, it doesn't tell us where she died
But
other
it
than
says she died of
minerals.
old age.
Yeah, died of old
And
age.
being
She was
tired.
tired.
I would say she died in the house.
So, and she very well could have, but we can't say for sure. Put this back over here.
Yeah, and Michael, brings up this thing. A lot of investigators also don't do a good job of researching. We don't research like this every location. It's when you start to uncover things that don't seem right is when you do that deep dive and try to figure it out. This has been since May, and we're still like finding
Still
things.
digging, right?
So here's what happened. We said that we were going to go to this place. The only thing that I was hearing at the point in time was they got it rigged. It's rigged. It's not haunted. They got speakers in the wall. They have EMF pumps in the floors, and they're doing all this stuff to make people think it's haunted. And I'm just like, that's a lot of work. I'm not saying that nobody would do that because it has been done. Make no mistake about that. That has been done. So I'm like, all right, we'll go there. Then it was on our bucket list when we want to go there. And then, oh God, just before we go there, or while we're like on our way there or whatever, hey, the history of that place isn't accurate. Look into the history. We did. And that started to become a thing where I was having different investigators telling me, hey, really look into the history, because something's not right here.
Yeah, we didn't just have one person reach out. They came out in droves. you know.
Wow.
It's just people that and many that wanted, like, hey, we can't find stuff, but maybe you all can.
And then and I've asked, how come you guys haven't put that information out there? How come the information hasn't been put out there? And they're like, because we hear that they're Sue happy.
Right.
I know. I mean, they sent us a cease and desist.
It doesn't make sense because I have a friend who owns a pretty popular location, and when he bought it, he said that he did his own research, and he even had the previous owner telling him stuff, and he's taking notes, and then he goes and researches everything. He said whatever, it could have been true, but if I couldn't find documentation of it, I threw it out. I don't care if it's true or not, and they're telling me by mouth. I'm gonna look it up, and if I can't find the information, I'm throwing it out. I'm not gonna give it in my tours, and that's what he did. He there really isn't a lot of information to go on in this popular location of his, but he didn't want to put his reputation on the line and say he had something where someone like us goes and we research it and can't find the information and say, hey, where is this information? And they don't know.
Exactly.
He said that he threw it all out, whether it was true or not. If he couldn't find documentation and back it up. And when you say the spirit said this and the spirit said that, and our psychics say this, well, find the information, go back it up. You have a name and you have a date. They gave exact names and exact dates of things in some of these recordings that are on YouTube. You can look that up. There's records.
And then one of their friends calls me up saying, "Oh, have you been served yet?" And I didn't get anything, in terms of like a cease and desist or a court or anything like that. But like, did you get served yet? Oh, you're going to. And then telling me, the demon of the house wants to kill you. We're concerned that it's going to try to kill you by giving you a heart attack. I literally, I
He's
could
still
not,
here. 2 months later, 2.5
I literally, like,
Bring
I
it on.
couldn't take that fucking conversation seriously.
Yeah, it's
I could,
laughable.
I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I'm still here. Toby's a bitch. He
You
can
know,
come get me.
That's the thing too, and this is across the board with locations. There are some owners and guides that will talk about, well, if you get injured at this location, like psychically, there's something that goes on, or if it's possibly demonic, something happens to you, please don't hold us responsible. And we're like, just because you go home and you have something wrong with you later doesn't mean it was because of that location. I booked the Monroe house the day I broke my humerus. Now, is that a coincidence, or did the Monroe house cause me to break my humerus? No, I tripped over my own feet walking out of the movie theater. But it is kind of ironic that I booked the location while I was in the movie theater, and then I had a nice little
And you
accident.
filmed. Oh yeah, well then they will put that together as a connection.
And
Um,
I didn't.
This is
I mean, I'm like,
ridiculous.
gosh, I'm clumsy, and now it's $150,000 difference in the cost of that movie.
But yeah, I mean, I keep saying Toby's a bitch. Toby's the name of the demon. Well, it's actually Asmodeus. So you can go fuck himself too.
But we don't even know that that's really what's
right.
there.
Right. I mean, I do think something is there.
Yeah, but it may not be that.
But see, the other thing
Could be
too,
pretending.
the other thing too that isn't like I haven't said anything about it is there were other things that happened in that area that could actually be what's haunting the place and why it's aggressive. But I'm gonna keep that to myself because obviously, they just want to run with it seems like anyways, the bullshit stories. So I'm not going to bother with it.
Right.
But
I would want to know the truth. I would definitely want to know. Are you getting hungry?
kind of.
Reaching for my Butterfinger. Nobody lay a finger on my Butterfinger. It's
Oh no.
And I mean, if they want to sue for that crap, like I said, I hope they do, because I'm going to make it a media event. I'm going to get a hold of all the radio stations,
Are we allowed to?
the news, and everything.
Can we mention
I don't
something
care.
else?
Depends on what it is. Hold on, let me mute you real quick, because
The telling secrets. Don't forget, guys, you can ask questions anytime you want. Just put them up there and we'll have Joe and Don answer.
Okay. I just lost it. My short-term memory where I hit my head when I fell. I just lost it in that little bit. And I'm like, crap. So now I got to think about it. It'll probably come to me in 2 more days. That's what happens. But I'll try to think of it. Let me let you talk, and I'm gonna get my wheels turning again. This injury.
she brought up while we were muted. We talked to their attorney. I know that conversation was like 2 hours or more, or something like that. I don't remember. I had to look. Actually,
That's why I'm trying to think of this. What he said that I was gonna say.
let me look.
Okay, Michael has a question. Did you guys make Dawson go swimming?
No.
No, did not.
He had on his water wings probably anyway.
Gosh, why can't I think? It was just there. I gotta rethink. It's just gonna bug me.
Well, that's not it.
I know, I hate it when that happens.
That was important too. But man,
Apparently, it's not here. I don't know. We talked to him for more than 2 hours, and that was a fun conversation. I don't think that went as he expected it was going to go. And not saying anything negative towards him.
Oh, I
He
know
was
what it
actually
is now.
freaking cool.
I know what it is now.
I mean,
Quick,
they're-
quick, whisper it.
You mute me again, see if I can say that.
oh, jeez.
Hurry, hurry. Before she loses it. It stinks getting older.
Okay.
This was the conversation with their attorney, because he was saying that they were claiming that we were ruining their reputation, causing that kind of harm, which they made a Facebook post not too long ago claiming all these new followers they have and all this stuff, and no one's watching our channel and going, oh, I'm not going to go to the Hill House. We've encouraged people to go, like still go.
Yeah,
If
go.
it's your
Right.
place, we're not saying it's not haunted, but he also said that they were making a claim that every time they would hop on one of Joe's live streams, that we would be shutting it down because they were hopping on. Lord, do you know when people are hopping on and they're not commenting that that they're in the background watching? Because we told him, do you know how
No.
YouTube works? And he's like, no, I have no clue. And we're like, we don't know if they're coming on, and they could be in here right now. We don't know, and we don't care.
Right.
Not saying anything, but maybe they're hopping on when we are ending it. But that's their fault. Go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, go back and rewatch the damn thing.
Right. Yeah. Usually
That's
it's
how
because they're
YouTube
late
works.
or
How
yeah.
can you make that
that's how it works.
claim? Like, oh, they're in there, so we gotta shut it down. No, I mean we have nothing to hide. We're not saying
When we see
anything.
people's, handles on YouTube,
If they would have commented, we would have commented back, hey guys,
not everybody uses their real names as their handle on YouTube.
makes no sense.
Right.
So they make up, whatever. I have no idea what their YouTube handle is, and yeah, I don't even care. If they were there, they probably weren't typing anything.
Right.
So we don't know if they were there, and I don't even know their YouTube
And I
handle.
don't care if they're there. Like, be there all you want to be, because they're we're doing our job, and we're not getting paid for it, and we're doing more than what these paid historians did.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Above
I-
and beyond.
I could write a book now, I guess, if I wanted to.
Um,
I have to write it as fiction.
yeah, I mean,
There's a hi Raven. See, she's lurking. I do that too because I'm usually working on something, either listening to audio stuff or working on the magazine stuff, and so I usually pop and say hi, I'm lurking, and then I won't chat because I'm, I'm doing
Oh.
two things.
Yeah, we weren't shutting down any live stream. Goes, oops. Yeah,
oh no, they're here. We better shut it. No,
let's delete it.
right.
Yeah, we've not deleted anything.
I even told their attorney, I said, yeah, a friend of theirs called me telling me that, and I said, and I'll take this as a threat, that the demon of the house wants to kill me, and they're concerned. And he literally said, that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
And he also isn't very familiar with the paranormal, he said.
Yeah, we had to, there was a lot of
We had
things
to
that,
school him.
yeah, there's
yeah,
a
you
lot
had to
of things that
explain
we-
everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we had to explain to him that, things like that. It was a great conversation, though. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, normally you wouldn't want to talk to someone else's attorney, but it was just a typical conversation. It was a long conversation. At the end of the day, he still represents those people, and
Right.
for us to go, nope, you got to talk to our attorney. We didn't do that. It's like, I don't have a problem.
Well,
We're not-
right. There's no reason. I mean, you guys are presenting evidence that is documented. So
Right.
where are you wrong?
Right. I mean, they're going to have to show proof of this. And the thing is that
Well, you
they,
can't.
it's all talk. It's all talk. And again, we're not saying that the owners are the ones who are doing the research and things like that. Whoever is doing their research is doing a shitty job. But at the end of the day, it's the owner's responsibility to make sure that this information is correct. Because believe it or not, there is a law. And I won't say too much about this. This is from somebody that Dawn and I talked to from Mineral Wells, Texas. If a business is putting out information that is false and making money and presenting it as factual, that's illegal. That's false advertisement and something I can't remember what it was called. But I don't want to talk too much about that.
Right. No, yeah, that's true. They're representing something that isn't true and making profit off of it.
Well, and one of the words is an inducement.
Inducement.
Yeah, you are, you're spending money, and you're given information that it is not accurate.
Yeah.
And that happens across the board. But a lot of times, people will say this is a story, this is this is that. You've got written documents that say this is our documentation.
Right. See, so they're wording it very wrong.
So they do say, hey, this is what we heard, or this came from this device or that device, whatever. But
For some stuff.
But for stuff like this and a few other things, no. Like I don't have an issue with them saying, oh, well, this is what was captured on this device, although, and I'm going to be blunt about this, if you're going to sit there and tell me your fucking device, like a spirit box
or an app,
is spitting this shit out and you're going to run with it, get the fuck out of the business. Literally.
Yeah,
that is the dumbest shit, because we will rip that shit apart. We know how the apps work. They're random word generators. They're not legit. That is not how you investigate. REM pods.
We show it. We turn them on just to show why it's not working. Why you shouldn't use it.
False positives.
You just want it for entertainment.
Right.
Just false positives. You get audible pareidolia through the spirit box. I mean, all these things. You can't sit there and say, well, we know this because the spirits told us through this device. Okay, so first off, you are literally saying that this is proof because of something that we can't even prove exists in the first place, told you through a device that has a lot of false positives, can cause audible pareidolia, and among all these other things. You're going to sit there and tell me that that's your proof.
And you don't get
that's your
full
evidence.
Sentences like some of these places claim they have these full sentences telling a whole story. Like
yeah, I've never seen any of them do
you
that.
get the word TV Lydia, and you're going to put together a narrative with these one little random words and two little random words.
I have never even heard business owners say such fucking things. I really haven't. Sorry if I'm swearing a lot.
Oh,
Go ahead. I get it. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
You have a guy like Tim Wood, and I'm saying this, so go fuck off, Tim Woods.
But I don't like him.
You have this guy, Tim Wood, who has a TV show, who we have footage. We literally, holy fucking shit, have footage of him busting himself on a live stream using freaking fish wire.
Yeah.
He literally runs into it. Literally. And it's like,
he's stepping over it.
And you guys, oh, Tim Woods, he's great. He's doing all this stuff at our house. I'm like, you have a con man. In my opinion, a con man at your location. Nobody takes this guy serious. Nobody. He is literally the freaking Timu or Blue Light Special Zach Bagans. This guy. And look, Matt is showing footage of Tim Wood in our documentary, and
oh, he's so mad it froze up.
Yep. I absolutely do not want him in the documentary because he is not a trustworthy, credible investigator. Sorry,
Right.
He's not. And Matt's like, oh, I just want to put it in there, for dramatic effect or whatever. It's like, dude, take him out of there.
Put some other.
Put something else there. He
Find something else.
A demon did not break his arm. He fell. We know that. Well, we don't have it on video. Well, that makes it all better to take it out of there because all we do is hear him yell, "Ow!" And
Yeah,
then,
there's no
oh,
proof,
something
right?
grabbed my arm and broke it. No, bitch, you fell and broke your arm because I could hear you fall.
Jesus.
I had
Yeah,
to go
I wouldn't have that.
when I first went to the Monroe house and had to go up and down those stairs. Joe had to take me each time because I was still in my sling. I was not even like a month out from surgery. That the first two that I had,
right.
and those stairs are not even. Yeah.
Oh, we lost him. Oh no. Time warp, guys. Totally lost him. So we'll have to wait till they pop back in. So far, what does everybody think about this whole thing? I mean, I agree with them 100%. I mean, if you don't have the paperwork or the documentation to back up your story, I wouldn't pay for that location either. Um, it's just, and then to have the nerve to threaten lawsuits. How are you going to prove? How are you going to prove that? You know? Okay, yeah. Don said the internet issues. He's going to restart. Okay, we're waiting. And yeah, see, and I think Jeff, I know you guys all agree. If you don't have the paperwork to back up the story, then you need to shut up because but the drama and the fake stuff sells. That's what's really, I think, even more frustrating. Is that people are going to believe what they're told because they just don't know any better. Or this is what they want to accept. They want to accept that, wow, it's a great story. Yeah, I know he's so angry they blew up the internet. I'm all for a great story too, but when you're posing it as truth and then you're charging people for it, that is way, way wrong. And then, of course they felt threatened. So of course they're going to throw out the lawsuit thing until, to shut you up, scare tactics. And I think it's great that Joe and Don are continuing their search because he's going to stand his ground, totally stand his ground and not be scared off by bullying. It just amazes me what people will do to hold on to, well, it's money. Money rules the world. You know how that guy goes. And he broke it. Let's see, Wayne, people are fed up with all the BS and the fakery. Yeah, they are. I've got a lot of people that will contact me and say, I'm not even going to bother watching any of this stuff anymore or even be involved with it anymore because it's just the fakers ruin it. And especially, when the debunkers get out there and they tear them apart. Hi, Ian. How are you? A furious Biddle. Yeah. How do you expect people to take you serious especially when you're exposed? And it's really, really disappointing. There they are.
I don't know what happened.
You blew it up because you were so angry.
Probably. No, I restarted my computer and the router. I don't know why that happened, but whatever. I'm angry. Maybe it's
He's
Toby.
angry.
Maybe it's Toby.
Well, Arian says furious Biddle, furious Vitale.
And the owner, like the owners of the location, they were awesome. They were awesome people. And again, I would tell people, go to this location. Go. Like, experience it. But the stories, don't listen to them. Like, if they ask, hey, do you want to tour the history? Just no. Don't. You are far better off going there not hearing the stories because the stories are designed to obviously freak people out, plant that seed in the head.
Make it more interesting, more edgy,
right. I've talked to, like I said, we've talked to people in Mineral Wells. I'm waiting to hear back from a couple people. And like I said, let them take me to court.
let's see. Steve says, what's even worse is the amount of people who worship the BS to the point of gang stalking. Well, yeah, like when you have people come on like your programs, everybody's got programs and stuff, and they start bashing and bullying because you've told the truth or your opinion, and they are just so sucked in by it that they tear you up.
You know, and I'll be honest, I don't want anybody giving them, like, the owners, any shit. I don't. Like, that is not something that I will stand for. And, you know, if anybody starts like giving them shit or anything like that, yeah, I want to know, because I'm going to jump in there and be like, no, stop. There's no reason for that. Now, our goal is, and has, you know, been to tell like the truth with the history. And you, like I said, most location owners, they're straight up with us. You know, here's what we do know. Here's what we're not sure of, and here's what we're hearing, but we don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. But to sit there and again, like, the proof is there. I mean, I still have to go through and I have to find more videos of people investigating that location, because just in case I have to mount up, you know, my case and prove my point, which, fuck, this is by itself.
There's so many episodes on YouTube that just blow everything out of the water.
And then, you know, then they want to sit there and claim that, oh, we're hurting their business and all this other stuff. We're not hurting their business. People want to go there. It's on their bucket list. You have them posting not that long ago, oh, things are doing great. Our numbers of followers have gone up and all this great stuff. And thank you guys for this.
Big YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Going to be here or has been here.
Yeah. Then
they're known to fake. They are
the
known
boys
to throw things around and destroy property and be kicked out of every location.
Yeah. It's like, good job, guys. Fuck. Way to vent these people. Cause yeah.
Yeah, they may have a lot of followers, but good luck. Unless they've changed their act.
They're not allowed to investigate. Well, they've been black. Yeah. Sinai I did an episode on that. They're not allowed to investigate
multiple,
like most of the locations in Australia. They're banned, and that's where they're from. So they got to come to the United States and ruin it for the rest of us.
Right. Oh, jeez. That's what it is. Yeah, Steve said most believe the fakery in their entertainment of real paranormal evidence proof. In 30 odd years, I have investigated paranormal, and it's gotten much worse. Well, because it's a fad right now.
Well, and then everybody gets mad at debunkers in the debunking community. If you call them out on something, and oh, am I fake? Sometimes we're not saying it's fake. You know, the debunkers are pointing out the obvious that should be obvious to them, but they're aligning themselves with other teams that have either been known to fake or they over exaggerate. And then I saw a comment on one of them that just said, you know, do it the way you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm like, yeah, there is. But yeah, you can do the apps if you want. And we show why we don't use them. Go ahead, and if that's what makes you comfortable, but you know, don't be surprised when the debunking community is going to come after you because you did do the things that have been proven time and time again to not work and not help your case. I've constantly made comments back to these people who get all butthurt about the debunkers coming after them and saying, why don't you put cameras in every room? Why don't you have recorders everywhere? Because that little whisper that you thought came through as an EVP, I've done that too. I've said to Joe, like one of the locations, I absolutely thought it was an EVP we captured or a disembodied voice, because I think I heard it with my own ears. And when he lined everything up, all the cameras, all the footage, even with, and that's that location where the cafeteria played that music, he said that was the car driving by at the time. And if he hadn't had the recorders going in multiple places and cameras going, you know, we could have easily said that we thought we captured an EVP and run with it, and we really didn't.
Right.
See, the other thing too, with all of this, going on with that location, and people really, I mean, there are people who are really terrified, who go off and do the whole paranormal thing for YouTube. Um, that YouTuber could get themselves hurt at a location. They get scared, they run, they end up hurting themselves. Now, these locations are like, oh, well, we have these waivers. You sign these waivers. So if you get hurt, we're not liable. No, the waivers do not hold up in court. I don't care what an attorney tells you. The waivers do not hold up in court. You might get lucky. But yes, there have been people who have been hurt at haunted locations. That wasn't necessarily the location's fault, and the location owners ended up losing their case. Even though they said, we have these waivers, the only reason why they have to have waivers is for insurance reasons.
Hey.
Most of the places, just insurance reasons.
But if they have liability insurance, because I do work in insurance, they're going to be paying out a claim if someone falls in their location and gets hurt, and they'll probably be paying out a claim.
There's this,
so they're covered anyway, even though they make you sign this so-called waiver.
Basically, the people, when you go there and you're signing this paper, you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, if I get hurt, that's on me. I better be careful. No, that is a little play there where this person thinks they can't do anything about it, but in reality, you can.
But there will be some kind of responsibility on that investigator too. Like,
right.
Did you do everything you could to not cause something to happen? Now you ran, and they can't help that you ran and you
in the dark.
So I mean, they'll still investigate it, but more than likely, if it's found that it's not their fault, then it would be a claim. Just like a contractor going to a home, because I had one of these call in they needed their medical bills paid because they slipped and fell on ice for a job that they were doing at a home. Well, the owner's responsibility was to make sure there was no ice where these people are walking on their property, because they have contractors working on their house, and that person won their case.
Now, the other thing too is, some of these locations, they have us sign contracts, hey, we own your whatever it is that you record and blah 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 blah. No, that's not necessarily true. I can put content from that location out on my channel. They can sue me for it. At the end of the day, the contract doesn't hold the way it was written, the way it was scribbled on by the owners, and other things.
Well, and then there's also
two attorneys. I had two attorneys look at it, and they both said, "Yes, it won't hold. It won't hold up."
Worthless. Right.
There's an email too. Part of the information is saying you can take your cell phone or a camera and put it up against our security cameras and record anything you want, if you need it as proof. Well, that alone says we're allowed to use footage that they gave us permission to take images.
Yeah, we were given permission. Now it's after the fact because we have information. So it's kind of like a punishment. It ain't gonna work though. I'm putting the footage out there, and it's nothing. It's nothing against them at all. No, this is what we experienced, and it's over 3 hours long. I'm not going to do it in parts, but
have fun watching that, guys.
Yeah,
get the popcorn ready.
It's Dawson and me and Joe just having a good old time.
Yeah, so I'm going to put that out there, and if they try to come after me for it, let them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I want them to. I want them to come after me. I really want them.
Yeah. So you can present your side and then see if they can prove theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a media event out of it. I don't give a shit.
There's no, There's too much against it. Am I allowed to talk about that word?
Yeah, do it.
So what I was talking about before, that
I'll be back though. Go
One
ahead
of-
and do that.
one of the attorneys, not theirs, had talked about fraudulent inducement. That's like one thing. And I have taught business law. I have a lot of attorney friends. But fraudulent inducement, now this is for any business, is a legal claim that occurs, and I'm just reading from the internet, when someone is tricked into entering into a contract or agreement by a deceptive statement or act. The victim can seek damages or terminate the contract because the fraud negates the meeting of the minds that's required for a contract. So, when you put stuff in a contract that you are going to experience orbs, you're going to experience, you're going to be able to capture things, no, that would not be correct. But then it's just saying
That also
examples.
applies to the history and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, as an example would be a car dealer selling a car with a known defect without telling the buyer, a seller misrepresenting something about an item they're selling to the buyer's detriment. There has to be a material misrepresentation and some other things, for you to have. I mean, like we have that. The attorney told me to look that up and look into it because, he said, you guys really have, something, and we're not trying to push the issue, but if someone else is going to push it, we'll push back.
Right. Well, and another thing, that documentation is covering your ass as well. So if they're saying that you're not committing slander or or anything like that,
That's not what we're doing. I mean, we're
right? I mean,
the
like you
truth
said,
out
you're
there.
not telling people not to go there.
No,
You're just saying that the story they're putting out is incorrect.
I would I from my experience there, it would have been, it's a bucket list. I can check it off. It would have been a one and done for me anyway, regardless, because of the time to get down there and the travel and the cost. I want to go to other places. I don't need to go back there. If I lived closer, I'd probably go back 4, 5, 6, 7 times, because I've done that. Well, I've done locations where I've gone dozens of times.
Right.
Because I live in the vicinity. It's, it's cost effective, but then I've had experiences at these locations and I want to, be able to see if it's legit and go back and try again. And I have a few of those. So if I lived closer, I would, but not living this far away, and then uncovering, some of the gaps and the rabbit holes we went down, which is kind of unfair, to waste our time calling out for entities and spirits and things that may or may not
aren't even at that location.
Yeah. So, but there's some interesting things going on. I can't wait for people to see, because there's one particular thing that we just happened when we were reviewing to notice that we didn't notice. All together we're accounted for on the camera, and something happens in the background and we don't even react to it, and it is obvious, and we're like, wow. What was that? So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place, and anybody can go there, look it up, see what happens.
Right, and just don't believe what they're telling you. That's all.
No.
Just
like
do their
Bobby
own
Mackey's.
thing.
I've been to Bobby Mackey's a lot, and of course now you can't go, but it was way overhyped. I really had all those stories in my head when I went there the first time, and I was like, there's nothing here that they talk about.
Right.
And I was able to go back. I took my daughter, and she was, I think, 10 at the time, 10 or 11, and she thought she saw a little something. And I have had experiences there, but nothing like what they claim for Bobby Mackey's. But it is an interesting place, and it was like 45 minutes from me, and I usually got free events, so I would go up there and investigate.
The other thing too, when Dawn talked about that law there, that if YouTubers are calling their stuff business, they're running it like a business, they have the license, LLC and stuff like that. That may affect or could bite them in the ass. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe, because they are putting out a product.
Well, and you have people recording tours in the past that are out there. They've never been asked to remove. And there's information said during those tours from those specific people at this location. That's, well, I mean, we have the recordings. But I think I think people forget what they say. I think they forget.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, going back to the history, what was printed out, I am not kidding. And again, we have the footage. They say somebody else printed that out, but yet it's changed over time and been written on and things like that. So you look at like Twin Paranormal, what their paper, it's very different than ours. It's still the same, but some things have changed or whatever, or added to. And then in between that time, there's another team that went there, and they again sent me their photos of the history in that little folder, and it's a little different too. And it's like this thing has been there for at least a year, like a year before we were there, and they're like, we didn't know it was there. We didn't know it was there. Because that's what a friend of theirs was telling me. No, they didn't know that was there, and they went and they got rid of them all. They found a bunch of them, and I'm like, how? First off, you're telling people, oh, go watch this channel. They're really great, and they're showing and talking about what is on this paper, but for whatever reason, they didn't know that it was there.
That paper's on a lot of
major
YouTubers' channels.
Right. And I find it hard to believe that they didn't know that.
The only thing they blacked out is the self-deletion part. That
and the that certain assault
R
thing.
word.
Yeah, the R word. So to me, it's like, that doesn't add up. But it's sad, and even in the when you watch these videos and they're doing the tours, the stories that are being told are exactly what's in the paper.
And in the book follows that narrative too.
Yeah, I mean,
or both books follow the narrative. Yeah, but regardless, we have a postcard that takes away quite a bit of information that is inaccurate. It's just, there's no getting away from that. That postcard, we were meant to find it.
One of the book
Oh yeah.
So one of the book authors, I asked, where did you get that photo? Where did you get that photo? I was trying to say Willie and photo at the same time. Where did you get that at? Like, where did you find it? I got nothing, nada. While I'm asking the question, I'm holding this in my hand. Where did you get this, photo from? Where did you get it from? Where did it come from? I didn't hear a thing.
But you did send that author
last week
some information like that about the postcard and about some stuff, and she sent back an unhappy face,
like a mad emoji.
Instead of asking the right questions as a researcher, because now you probably need to edit your book.
And
you caught her with her pants down is pretty much what you did, and she wasn't too happy about it.
I went ahead and I bought another copy of that book because I had a Kindle version of it, but I have a copy of that book.
Again, why are we like the target of I'm mad at you for finding information that is a beloved location of theirs. You love going there. Well, then why aren't you interested in something that changes things? It makes it more intriguing to me.
They want to talk about how, being honest and all this other stuff, but yet these YouTubers are putting, this content out there, the history tour, and, just again, the information that is on their history paper. That's not a problem. Like that's okay. But when we're able to prove that a lot of the stories, again, I keep pointing at this, all of a sudden it becomes a problem. Now, I have that video edited, and I wasn't gonna do anything with it. I was just gonna like, fuck it, I'm deleting it all. I don't care. And I thought about it. I'm like, no, I'm standing my ground on this one
No, because it's accurate.
because one,
There's no falsehood.
I'm showing our experience at the house.
Right.
Okay, and we did experience some things, but I'll be honest with you, for the most part, it was quiet. And yes, I do bring up that I was disappointed that the history was inaccurate, but I didn't go into the history or anything like that. It was more about, this is what we experienced, and here's what happened. It wasn't even. I put it together in a half-ass way. Like, you can tell I don't care with this video. Like,
Oh, it's still high quality compared to anything else out there.
just whatever.
It still looks like good production.
Better. Better than what I do.
But I mean, we were looking at that place to do a documentary, and we would have run into this problem.
Yeah. Oh, we would have been really researching.
And I'm gonna have to have a conversation with Matt, because if we ever run into something like this, we need to have the correct contracts saying, like, no ands, if, or buts about it, whether you like it or not. What we find, and we'll make sure that we're as accurate as we possibly can.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing they can do about it. It's going to come out.
Well, but that's what they're saying about these NDAs for these TV shows that they've made a post about, and that we can do nothing about the fact that they have their own historians and they do their own research. Even if it's not accurate, you'll have to ask them, because we're not allowed to disclose it. So you're okay with that?
Right.
And you're going to sign the NDA on that even if we
Right.
find accurate information and we put it out there on your location, you're okay with it?
I did talk to someone. Well, I'm not going to say who or what show. I did talk to someone briefly from a television show. I wanted to see if they were going there or not. And I went ahead and gave them, or that person, information and things like that. It would be a lot better for me to put the information out than it would be for some of these television shows and some of the others who are putting content out there, because they will completely and utterly, like, just destroy them. No shit's given.
Wow.
At least I have a bit of a heart not to just completely
Slaughter them.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds like I am, but I do like the owners, and I do believe that to a point they are being taken advantage of. That's how I feel. But yet at the same time, it doesn't help when they're
you're
showing
blocking-
this photo, of somebody. Then that should have been researched. Clearly, it's not the same house, not even the right address. Like I said, I did that high resolution scan. Fucking hide me. That's a fact.
Right.
That that doesn't exactly help. And I mean, there are some TV shows out there. They'll see that, they'll jump on it. And they'll be
Oh yeah.
Oh no! When you watch Portals to Hell, Katrina, in a nice way, basically said, "No, this guy had nothing to do with the house. There's nothing there to support that claim." But they kept going with it. They kept going with it.
Well, if you watch Portals to Hell, also they interview the author of that book. And
Jeff, here's my dog barking. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
even when they interview the author of the book and ask a lot of questions, and they say, "Have you found documentation on this?" No, not yet.
You can tell they were frustrated. You can tell Katrina was so frustrated. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of these shows, they do have people who do research for them. I know that I was contacted by somebody for a television show that wanted me to send them all of research that I found. Made their life easier. I got no credit
definitely
for it,
right.
but I won't get credit for it. But a lot of these shows, they do have people who do research a location. If they're thinking about researching, or going to a location, a lot of times they'll go ahead and they'll research the location and look at what they found versus the stories are being told. So a lot of times when people are like, how come this place has never been on TV? Probably because research was done ahead of time.
And we tried to, this is so funny. We did try to kill some time for a day and a half in the town because we had a lot of time to kill before our investigation. And I said, why don't we go to the library and see if we can dig up some microfiche records or something. And we were like focusing on the main stories that we'd read about or heard about. I'd watched a bunch of videos and I had it all written down in my notes, like, who to look up. We go to the library, and of all the days that there was a water main break and the library was closed, and we could not stay in town. We had to go back home after the investigation. So and we were investigating during those 3 days. So we didn't go back to the library because we honestly didn't feel like we were going to have to do this deep dive. We should have had enough information to go on and just like check a few boxes and look at
right
the names and the certificates that are out there. We shouldn't have had to even look. And when we found the discrepancies, it was like, okay, unfortunately, now we got to stop what we're doing to focus on this. And it's, like I said, it's been since May and still going 4 months later or 3.5 months later.
Must have been the demon that made the water main break so you guys couldn't get to the library.
Yeah, so if certain shows haven't shown up to investigate a location, there's a chance that they had already done some research ahead of time,
right?
And then looked at what was being planned, because a lot of these shows, they don't want to go there and waste their time and money. They also don't want to here's what we found, guys, and this isn't accurate, but here's this stuff which is accurate. Yeah, they don't want to embarrass, because then they do risk the owners either threatening or suing. Yeah, God.
It makes your head want to explode, because, and like you said, Dawn, you have a friend who has his own place, and if I was me, and you would think that these people that own this property would want to know all of the facts about what you guys have found, so that they could tell the true story behind.
Because the true story is weirder than the bullshit that's being told.
And but that's what makes it makes you think, what the hell? What are they thinking? Why would you accept the fake crap? And people are like, you guys and many others are going to do their research and say, well, you guys are full of bullshit. This is not even, the stories don't even match up with the property. But yeah, here you are charging people and you're feeding this to them.
And they said this in their, I don't even know why they said this in their post, but like, oh, we don't charge for our tours. We don't charge for tours when you book the location, to investigate. I mean, yeah, that's fine. But it was probably something that I said that was taken a bit out of context, and that could have very well have been my fault. But if I'm going to pay money to go and investigate a location, and we're doing the tour, I want the truth. I don't want, because you are to a certain point am paying for the tour because it's all part of the package.
Right.
So you are paying that in some way, shape, or form. I don't want to. And this again, a mistake on our part. We investigated based on what we were being told and what was being provided to us, whether it was for hearsay or hey, this is what we for a fact or whatever. We investigated on those premises, and it was wrong. Like, it was very wrong on our part.
Yeah, we weren't getting responses because there was nothing.
Here I have Dawn sitting in a fucking bathtub.
Ew.
I know.
Trying to do an Estes
Well, it's not as
method
bad as the one at Bobby Mackey's.
when that event apparently didn't happen.
Right. So
And
there you go.
most likely-
Wasted time. And
And I talked to the justice of the peace, the coroner, trying to get some information because it really should be in a news article. If it's in 1955, in the 1950s, you should be able to find a big event like that, and there's nothing. You can say all you want about these are nicknames of people, a brothel, these ladies, they went by nicknames. Well, then why are you running with it as a story that we are not going to be able to find documentation? But yet the death alone, I don't care if it was a nickname or not, double deaths should have been in the news, because I came across articles from the 20s, the 30s, all these different years where there were some things that
Right.
happened that were made it in the newspaper, and I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, well, why can't I find it in the 50s?
I mean,
right.
They're not going to hide that.
Hey,
It just says everything in the 50s was in the news. You're right. It was. Everything was documented.
if you're going to have these stories and claim that there's documentation, you have to show the records. You have to show the documentation. Yeah. You just have to. Not all of us are going to just be like, oh, well, okay, that's cool, and just not see it.
There's a lot that do that.
I mean, you have, don't talk. Put it out there. Put that information out there. And I guarantee the reason why that information isn't put out there, because there isn't any. Because these events, they didn't happen.
I've even talked to the real estate agent who had it on the market. She did not want to talk to me about that location because somehow she lost a deal on it. It went off and this is not from the current owners. This was the previous owner had pulled it because I guess he wanted to rent it or try and do something else with it. And because I wanted to ask her, was that bathroom sealed up? When you were there? And she's on a video on YouTube, you can find it, where she talks about this bathroom. We don't know why it was sealed up, or she talks about it, and she pans away from it at the wrong angle. Like, if she would have just panned a little differently, we could have seen if it was open at the time she was trying to sell it. But right. I don't know that it was. And I tried to ask her, and she just refused to answer any of my questions. Like, it's too long ago. I don't remember things, and I've got to go. she just
shuts you down.
Yeah, I don't blame her. Anyways, but I mean,
that's how far we've gone. I mean, we've just talked to just about anybody. Actually, I wanted to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
While I was thinking of it, because of my short-term memory loss. I actually enjoyed the deep dive. I mean, as frustrating as some of it has been, and then not getting the proper support from people when you're trying to put accurate information out there, and you think that people would be appreciative of it. I still enjoyed reading some of those books and finding this information from history, because that's really why I get into the paranormal. When I go to a location, I just want to absorb all of that. Right. and think about how it was back in that time frame. And so I kind of enjoyed reading some of the stuff, not all of it, but just getting into that history. And then when Dawson found the person on the porch from that postcard, I tried to look and I couldn't find anything, and Dawson really helped on that part. Oh my gosh, that was a big thing that we're pretty proud of, because that took a lot of work.
Right.
But I just want to say that I've actually enjoyed, even as frustrating as it could have been, I enjoyed digging into this, because that is a very interesting town. We even learned a lot about the Baker Hotel that hopefully will be opening next year. I'd love to go back and stay at the Baker Hotel. It is the epitome of that town. And
Wow.
And everyone has nice things to say about the person who's rebuilding it. And he has a whole YouTube channel for the Baker Hotel and talks about the tunnels that are underneath the hotel that don't go anywhere other than the hotel, where there's also information that everybody thinks there's tunnels that run up and down the mountains and stuff. And they're saying, no, that's not what it is.
I am going to share, and we've already seen the video, but I want you to hear what is being said. So there is audio. And again, we should be fine because this is going under fair use. Anyways. All right.
But no, we have another bottle for him. So he likes to drink whiskey, okay? Jack Daniel's his favorite, so that's what we have for him. So you're going to deal his cards out there. And with those apps, he'll tell you to hit hold or fold. Sometimes he's knocked for tapping. So I'm going to tell you, here's a photo of him on the front porch. William Lester Kyle. Him and his brother, Curly, ran the brothel. You can see his photo. We have an actual photo of him for people that say we don't have history documented. Okay, so Portals to Hell found his death certificate. He didn't die in the home like the rest of the family did. He died. It was.
All right. So we heard that. Right? We heard what she said, documentation. But that's not him. She also said Portals to Hell found the death certificate. No, she presented Katrina or said, we have his death certificate. Now, she did use we believe, which that is a safe way of kind of making a claim.
Right.
Just because you printed out a picture from an image doesn't mean that's documentation. What about, like, how'd you get that image? Where'd that come from?
Right.
I asked those questions. I got nowhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, doing the research, stuff like that. I had fun talking to like historical researchers and historical societies and things like that. Officials from Mineral Wells.
And that person I talked to that had lived there almost her entire life, she's familiar with this place. She's not much into the paranormal, she said. But she said, I'm glad that you all are doing this. And I didn't even really give her many details. I just said, I'm looking for some answers to some things. And she said, I would question anyone that's putting information out there that is representing this town in a different way. And she's like, I don't know. I think I took notes of how she said it, but she was like, I'm so glad, even though we don't know each other, that you all are doing this because it's needed in what you guys do. And she was surprised that we were digging that deep.
And I learned about other haunted locations in that area. And they're like, yeah, you guys need to come down here. I know so-and-so, and investigate this, place, whatever. I'm like, and I would love to come back down to Texas. I wouldn't want to live in Texas, but I'd love to go back.
I lived there for like a year, and whoo.
Well, no, it would be cool to live in Texas, but
I live near Dallas.
I've got kids and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
too hot.
It's good to visit.
After doing all of this research and all of this ass ache that you had to put up with, how would you like to see this all come together?
Well, what I would like to see happen is that, this here, just, hey, the research was wrong. This is not the man. That event didn't happen. I would like for William Lester Kyle and Archie's image to not be dragged through the mud anymore. We've already gone through this with a couple of different locations. Well, I have, with a couple of other locations. The we did the thing with the Conjuring House. We had that documentary out there, and we are like, yeah, no, Bathsheba Sherman wasn't a witch, but that was known before we even did the documentary. So I remember Matt was like, hey, the whole witch story. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not true. Well, the Warrens, yeah, no, it's not true. The movie, yeah, and it's a movie, and then that kind of stuff,
Right.
Saying that, yeah, this whole thing with Bathsheba Sherman, but I'm like, that definitely needs to be in the documentary. There's another location that was owned by a judge, and I did research, and it's a judge. If I'm willing to stand my ground against a judge,
Right. Well, hey, I don't blame you. If you got the truth right there in your hands, then yeah, you need to stand your ground.
Well,
Would you
I
ever
would like.
consider?
I was
Go
going
ahead,
to
Don.
say just real quick. I would like the word debunk or debunker to not be a bad word in the paranormal. It just continues to be, oh, it's a bad word for too many people. It's what we should be doing, and
Right.
nine times out of 10, you can easily debunk a lot of the stuff ahead of time to save yourself a headache with your stuff later, like your editing later.
I would like to. Yeah, I would like for that stuff to get cleared up. I would like them to stop listening to devices of any kind
And psychic,
and psychics.
unless
Yeah.
you can take what they say and go research it and make sure it's accurate. Because if you believe psychics are accurate and right, you should be able to find that documentation. If they have a time frame and a name, go look it up. And then if you can't find it, then say, well, they said this, but we don't know if that's true because we can't find any information on it. You can go ahead and mention it all you want. There's nothing wrong with that. I have friends who claim to be mediums and psychics. I'm not going to not be friends with them because they're into something that, maybe I'm a little more skeptical about. I was more open-minded about it many, many years ago, but the more I've gotten into debunking and what I do now, like I don't diss them for what they do. But at the same time, like I would want to be able to not be just a standard answer, like that it could apply to anybody, and I mean, I could go into a location and throw out a bunch of names and dates too. I don't even have to be psychic to do that. But if someone really does believe in a psychic and what they're saying, and also I will point out this location does have on another network. Should I say the one that's in question with that person that talked to you?
Are you talking about the one where Toby got locked out?
Well, that's not that episode, but they have a documentary that's promoted by this location, and they have a psychic for the first whole hour of the 2-hour documentary going through this location. And I took notes. And so when I went, I'm like, okay, that doesn't add up. And then when we started looking into all this stuff, I watched it again and I'm like, she could have easily looked this stuff up. And she's using words that I can find in Google with this stuff she's talking about.
Right.
So again, I'm not saying she's fake, but it's harder when you are skeptical about that. But if you really believe in a psychic mediumship, then you should be able to back up what they say, or at least try and find the information. And if you can't, you've got to either throw it out or say, we were told this, but we can't find the information.
Right.
You know, it was great because not only, you know, it wasn't just Dawn and I doing the research. Many of you guys, here or not here, helped. I got great resources from different historical societies. One of them pointed me to, like, I cannot remember the name of the book off the top of my head, but basically it was a first account witness on who was in the Mineral Wells area before it was called Mineral Wells. Anyways, who was there first, and then as the years went by.
That's one book we didn't buy. I think it was more
We can't buy it.
expensive, or you can't find it now. It's like
not
out
that
of
one.
print. Not that one.
No, it was. I have to look. I can show it to you though. You can actually read it online. It is online, Laura. If you're interested, I'll send it to you as well. But I mean, yeah, it was really cool, and Mineral Wells is just, it's so well documented, and a lot of like the old photo. You've seen the photos, Laura.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! You think
You just have to type that in, Mineral Wells, and all this stuff pops up.
You look at these old photos, you're like, what? This is the kind of technology photos that we had, you know, in those like early 1900s and in late 1800s. You'd think there's no way that these pictures were taken at this time. These look like too good.
I had to ask about the postcard too. It's like, is that authentic? Because like, is it just a printed postcard? And found out that those Kodak cameras and some other cameras existed in the I think it was the early 1900s when it was made, and they could, you know, make a print of an actual, like, themselves to send to family or friends and treat it like a postcard on the
Hello,
back.
Matt.
So that
Hey,
was,
Matt.
that was a technology, and we went to multiple places to authenticate that this is a real postcard, and got yeses from people who deal with antiques and stuff that they see like that, and they're like, oh yeah, that. And the one guy was the one who told me, you got to look up Kodak, because that's probably a Kodak, and he named off the type of camera that would have used to print that. He's like, there's no doubt that is an authentic postcard. I mean, we went that far, like, make sure that it wasn't something someone just,
because you know, you look at a lot of old family photos. I don't know if you guys have a lot of them. I have my mother-in-law has photos from God knows old, but they are it's kind of like a card stock that the photo is on. So you could just flip it over and just write on the back of it like a postcard.
Yeah, and this is
I mean, these are like it looks like 1800 photos. I mean, it's really
a
weird.
whole eBay haven for these postcards. They're either stamped or they're not stamped, but there's a ton of postcard dealers, and that's how we found it. Was the person who sold it to me got it from another dealer. I tried to reach out to him to see where he got it, and he no longer has his store, and he didn't respond to my message because I'm not friends with them on social media, and he's never seen my message. So maybe eventually he will respond and see it. You know how like some of us don't open up our junk mail and stuff, like people that we don't know.
Yeah.
But he never responded, and I sent him the picture, and it said, I don't know if you'll remember, but if it was like around 2018 or so when he had that image out there trying to sell it, this person that sold it to me got it from him, and he actually remembered where he got it from, which was kind of cool, because I thought there's no way they're going to be able to answer these questions. They probably deal in all kinds of postcards and stuff, but this person legitimately knew where they got it and how long they had it, and probably why we couldn't find the image. But that day that Joe asked the question, it popped up 4 hours into the auction. It was posted, and we would have never seen it any other day.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah, I was talking to the Historic Mineral Wells, and that's I had no idea I was talking to an attorney, that like works for them or something. I can't remember what it was specifically.
Oh gosh, Matt.
And then and then I'm not gonna sit there and say that, Matt. I don't want to. I don't want to
Leave that in the chat.
I don't want to discourage anybody from going there or anything like that.
No.
And people should, I do want people
There's
to go.
something going on.
Yeah, there is definitely something going on, but like you said, but we finding, what we found, and then got me in trouble.
Yeah.
Trouble for being a truth seeker.
we did a lot of digging, and maybe we'll find some more, but
Right.
Mineral Wells, I talked to them, and then the following day they send me the link. I click on it, I'm like, it's on fucking eBay. Like, oh my god, what are the odds?
I know, that is just wild.
Fastest postcard sale, best $12 I spent. And I refused to open it. When I received it, I refused to open it until I came down to see Joe and he could record us opening it. I didn't want anyone to think I tampered with something.
Oh, yeah, and that was
I
smart.
it was legit. I just wanted to make sure we opened it at the same time on video. And we showed that in real time, like opening it.
So, yeah, that was the best way to go. So this way that we could say, yeah, you guys
But
are
it
trying
was
to
sitting there, and
pull
I was like, I still want to open this. I want to see it, but I waited.
Like I said,
Who gets excited about a postcard?
well, when it's evidence that
something
proves,
that old.
1908.
I know.
Really
I
cool.
mean,
like I want to frame it and just have it anyway because it's a cool story. It's a
Right.
really cool story. And I wonder if we could track down any family members that might want it.
I'm actually going to track down family members. Because Tempest, she died in the 60s, but the issue with that, which is really weird because you would think it would be the opposite, but finding
it's an original postcard.
Finding family members from the past and linking them, that's easy, but once you start getting past a certain year, then it becomes a bit of a challenge. Like you have the grandparents, great grandparents, and then like everything just stops. It's like there has to be more. Like there has to be more children. There has to be something. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but come on, somebody's got to be there. So I am definitely going to see if I can find the family members. I'll send them a high res copy of what I have, both front and back. I do want to get a hold of the Yeager family. I would love to get a hold of them and talk to them. There is that story with the house and the Yeager family having some involvement, some bad involvement. So I definitely, and there's a lot of Yeagers in Mineral Wells.
Boy,
I know one of the Yeager great grandchildren or something like that did move to New York, and that I believe that's where he died. But there's still family there, and I would love to get a hold of them and just talk to them. I think that would be really cool. But also let them know, hey, this story's out here,
right?
And there's no proof, nothing to back any of that up. But I think it's important that they do know what is being said. And if it turns out to be true, then it turns out to be true. But all I know is the Yeager family were very well respected, and I definitely will. I will go into the Kyle family and the Yeager family in a future video. There's other locations too that I want to go into and research, but those add up. Like their history's pretty damn accurate, but the stories, these people that make it interesting. So yeah, there will be a Voice for the Dead video.
Yeah. Well, I can do my own too, because like in my family tree, I think if anybody's kind of following me, well, I've got some really interesting characters in my family tree, but John Proctor, the first man hanged in the Salem witch trials, is in my family tree. And
Wow.
the owner who owns the John Proctor house, it is not a house you can go and investigate. Now, Kindred Spirits had been there twice. They did get permission. And she's had some home improvement shows there that have been on television. I reached out to her and told her I was, part of that legacy. And when we went to Salem for that little trip outside of the Conjuring house, she was traveling. I think she lives in California, but she was traveling back to the house to do some work. And she said, well, you're welcome to go there and take pictures, but I can't let you in till the next day. And she was wondering if we could extend our trip, and that way she could give us a tour of the house.
Right.
And I sit there and I think, John Proctor would still be alive because they posthumously said, he's innocent. But all these people dying back then that were not even guilty of the things that they did. There's a whole voices from the dead for a lot of these kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
John Proctor wasn't exactly a nice guy when it came to women, though, either, because he's like, oh yeah, when they act like that, just smack them around. He demonstrated that.
There's a lot of people in my family like that.
And so it's like, all right, so I mean, he's
cool,
proving that they're not a witch by doing this, but giving them a spanking. I don't know, maybe that was just kind of a kink he had. I don't know.
Well, he's in that Salem Witch Museum and a big focal point of it. And it was just really kind of cool to see that, because my sister traced us back to Jesus pretty much. She did a whole deep dive into our family tree and
Not literally Jesus, though.
came back with all this stuff. And I'm like, that name, when I came across John Proctor, I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so familiar. And I had to search it. And I was like, wait, that's the Salem witch trials? That's in our family tree? She's like, yep.
Dark mark. Yeah, that's a lot of work. It definitely is. I mean, if you love research, then that's something to get into, is the family histories. But definitely a lot of work. My mother-in-law did ours, my husband's side of the family, and he's got a lot of interesting characters in his family lineage. But I've seen her, and this is before we had computers. She used to spend hours and days and months at the library, just going through the old microfilm and all of that stuff. I'm thinking, I'm not helping doing it. You're crazy.
Well, if you think, like with that postcard, if that was a family member and they were doing research for a high school project or a college research paper, because I did one on our family tree in high school, and they go back and look and they type in William Lester Kyle, and then they're like, wait a minute, whoa, where's all this info coming from? He murdered and did all this stuff. What? And that would be very shocking. And then they'd have to do this deep dive and go, wait, that's not accurate. And they'd have to be asking people and doing the same thing we did. So,
and then even if you also have to take into consideration the people that were writing down all of this information, are they telling the truth? Because just because they wrote it down on a legal document doesn't mean that it's the truth.
Right. I mean, we researched, and it wasn't just us. There were a lot of people involved, a lot of moving parts, things like that. And everybody has come to the same place.
Anna.
All right. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
And if we're able to come to the same place using different means of like researching and resources and stuff like that. And I mean, really, the only difference between what Dawn and I found versus everybody was just that photo. I mean, that's it. But everything else all comes to the same
thing, yeah.
same end. Yeah.
So well, at least then you can actually say, okay, well then this makes sense, and it has to be legit because everybody is coming to the same conclusions. Because I've known some people that have done some family tree history, and they go, well, we'll just put this in because it'll protect, the innocent. Well, then you're making false entry. So then when future generations look at this, they're going to believe that because you wrote it down and it's not true.
Yeah, I forgot about
that's where it makes it hard on other people. Like I said, in the future, they want to look stuff up, and then this stuff doesn't match up because we'll just put this in.
Well, now that we've learned that the media doesn't exactly tell the truth, I'm going to really, I would say the people in the future, the kids in the future doing research, are going to have a hard time finding the truth anyway.
Yeah. Now, after all of this is said and done, have you ever even considered maybe writing your own book about
I want to write
and this experience?
I would.
The one with the postcard would be an interesting tale, but we'd have to really dig. I don't know if we have enough for a book for that, but maybe the discovery of it and coming across it and just the timeline. I don't know.
If I ever write a book, my name is not going to be on it.
I want to write a lot of books, but I don't have the time, and that's the problem. I guess I would really just need to be more forthright with it.
Right. Thanks,
So
Matt, for popping in.
So now that things are working, so
yay!
William Barclay Kyle. Now, again, William and this Curly, which is supposed to be his sons or Fanny's stepchildren. We can see that, he was married first to Prudence Smith, and they had 3 children. And we can see the years that they died. None of them have made it past 1910.
So the claim of him being there at the house till 1955.
Right. So we can see, 1910 is the longest that they had lived. I mean, Fanny was younger.
And didn't have any children.
She died in 1922. They did not have children together.
Right.
And, even when we go back up here, and I've done this on the other side as well, we'll look at his family tree, but we'll also do a comparison as well. So we don't know his mother or father. Same thing with Prudence. But we can see the kids here, who they're married to.
Oh, do you want to point out something else real quick?
Go ahead.
William Barclay Kyle is buried next to his first wife, not Fanny, his last wife.
Right.
And I was like, Joe.
But that was a normal thing, though. I mean, that was a very normal thing. Even Bathsheba Sherman, even though she remarried, she's still buried next to her first husband. So that was a common thing.
Yeah.
But nowhere are we
Use a
seeing.
pen named Dawson Toller for your book.
Oh, God.
You're not seeing that.
No.
Oh, God. I'm a pro.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
And then, we do William Lester, Kyle, and we're just doing Mineral Wells, even though he really didn't live in Mineral Wells. They'll still pop up.
Right.
And I cannot show the death certificate. That's just not happening because I have to blur out the Social Security number.
Right.
But there he is. There's a picture of him right there. We can see.
He had a lot of kids.
They had a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
I don't have time to run a brothel if I have 9 kids
No kidding.
and working in
So
a
saying, yeah, all that
Why-
stuff he was doing, where'd they find the time?
Right. Why run a brothel or go to a brothel when, you know,
You got
your
it at
wife
home.
is ready to rock and roll at any given time? You know, look at how many children they had.
I know.
Um,
And actually, that's a small amount, 9. Usually there were like 13 back then.
yeah, it would almost be considered a small family almost.
Yeah.
I was one and done.
Yeah, and then there we go.
Lucky
We
for
have them
that.
here. We go look at the family tree. And his father is his name is James, not William. Then we have William Lester Kyle here, and his wife. You know, their children. And what's really crazy is we can go really far back. The 1700s,
Eh,
1600s. I mean, that's insane. 1500s.
So yeah, you've got the full line there. That's great.
Somewhere though. How far does this go? I mean, this 1400s.
They don't have a last name.
Yeah, this guy doesn't
Or it
have a
only
last
has
name.
no, it only has the last name. Okay.
1300s.
That's
How far-
amazing.
How far back does this go? Oh, 1335.
Holy crap.
But he has no spouse, so how did he?
Probably can't find her.
Oh, okay.
He's from England, so we're coming into
Hope she didn't die on the Titanic or something.
well, I mean, apparently he had a child. So but yeah. That's how far back that can go.
So, yeah, that's pretty amazing.
But
Got
no,
the Titanic timeline wrong anyway. I was just joking, but
but nowhere is there. Holy crap. Okay. But nowhere in there is there anything with a Jacob or a Joshua.
Sarah.
And like I said, he has a sister, Sarah.
Right.
Where's she
And
at?
it was said that they're kind of buried together too, and that's not what's happened.
Right.
And actually, that was on video. They had made that claim on a video that all these people are buried in certain cemeteries and who they are, and there's no record of it.
Here's Sarah, the only Sarah that we can find within the family.
Right.
And you know,
And that was the sister.
yep. I mean, she was married. There is no niece. I can go through all of this. There's no niece. I don't think I'm going to go through all of that anyways. But, you know, guys, you can look the stuff up yourself.
Well, that's the problem. Nobody wants to do this much research. No, like a lot of these YouTubers want to put out an episode, move on to the next, move on
That's
to the next.
you're right.
They don't want to spend 3 or 4 months researching and digging up rabbit holes and not being able to put out their content because people get upset that you find discrepancies.
I mean, I'm just going to run through it here real quick. I mean, there's no niece whatsoever. And they're either married or they just didn't get married. But there's nothing there. I don't know how they got this story, unless it becomes that's just a nickname.
No, they
Like I
showed the
said,
death
who-
certificate on
Yeah,
TV.
they did. Well,
You
yeah, they did.
Can't say it's just a nickname.
And they're showing this photo, which is somebody completely different.
Right.
You can't backtrack on all this stuff and keep backtracking and saying that we're wrong.
Oh, let me see. I'll do this. Was it? Well, it wasn't, but it'll bring me. It should bring me. Or did she go by? Let me see. That might be it. That should be it. All right. Well, let me go through here.
You may have to look up Archie instead.
Maybe. But I know it's here. Somewhere.
But they didn't live in Clayton.
No, that's right. They lived in Grayson. That's where they lived. Yeah. I can't keep up.
Hope you have to type it out.
Yep. All right.
No, Grayson is what you said.
Yeah.
Or it's Grayford, isn't it? Or is it Grayson? Try both of them. Yes. You put Gayford.
Gayford.
That's what it says. There you go.
I forgot the R.
No,
Let me.
I just look up Archie.
I was having a hard time finding through that. Let me do this. And I'll just do this.
Isn't this fun, guys?
Yeah, this trying to find something.
It's all part of the research, all part of the fun.
All right. I found her. All right. All right. Ready for something amazing? There it is.
Ta-da!
And if we look at our sources here,
Archibald.
so I believe he actually moved to Idaho after his wife had died. That's what it's showing.
Right.
Yeah, so he did live. Let me find it here. $1880, $1890. So household.
Hit the wrong damn thing. Sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. There's Miss Ricketts. So I don't remember which one it was, but I was able to, like I said, I was able to find the house. There it is. So that's the event place. But I was able to find the house. Oh yeah, I need to show the head of household for the other. So he lived in Kentucky, and this seems to be like a lot of people went from Kentucky or Tennessee to Texas. There was reason though. We won't go into that. He's still Kentucky there. Oh, where's he at? I cannot show death certificates in case there are. That's the husband of her. But yeah. No. Anyways, I was able to find through one of these, wherever the hell it's at,
Right.
where that was. And let me go back here.
Pretty much wore that picture out.
Um, boom. All right. So we're going to go to her sister, Savannah Deborah Yeager. We have 9 sources. I think she was from Tennessee or Kentucky. Okay, Tennessee, which Washington County is not that far from me. So we know in 1855.
No, the house is in Texas, Jeff.
Yeah, the house is in Texas.
The postcard was sent to New Mexico for their
Right.
granddaughter.
If we look at we go back too far. So I'm in a rush. So that took place in Texas. So we know Deborah
That's the father.
when did she move? Okay. So
They got married in 1876.
and it happened in Texas. So we know right around 1876 was when she was in Texas.
Right.
And then her husband dies. I'm going to show the head of household here, widowed. Nope, I cannot show that. All right. Oh, where did that go? Okay. 1880. Okay. Birthplace, Tennessee. 5th Precinct, Parker, Texas. Okay. She's not in Mineral Wells yet. Or she should be. I'm just showing that on that house, she is the head of house. All right, so she's still married or married. Oh my God, why is this taking so long?
It's because you're searching for it.
Right. I literally have it. Okay. All right. You see here. So Deborah is buried in Mineral Wells. I overlooked it. Or I think. It'll say head of household. All right. So Fanny was a school teacher. And here, so we have people on this record: C.F. Yeager, Selena Yeager, Fanny Yeager. All right, that's not it. That is actually the Yeager family. All I want to do is find that, just to show that it was not Fanny. Oh, sorry, Laura.
Oh, it's all right.
I may have to actually look at Fanny's.
Did you clip that, anybody? I may have to go look at Fanny's.
Fanny's.
I
Well,
caught
just make
that.
sure you shut the camera off when
Make
you're
sure
doing
you
that.
clip that.
Yes.
I may have to go look at Fanny's.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, if I want to look at Fanny's, all I got to do is
We're gonna switch it over to the Fanny hour.
right.
That's on our other channel,
Oh, all right.
which has nothing on it because it doesn't exist, but that's okay.
All right, let me go through because it may be.
Well, it makes sense that you would have a Fanny channel because isn't Joe famous for his?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he won an award.
The award-winning Fanny.
Let's see. Well, I know it's here. I did do a screen recording of it to show that 1840. Okay, she was there. Sorry, guys.
Imagine sitting with Joe for hours on hours doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
So much bonding time happening.
yeah, that's fun. I
Well,
know.
two eyes are better than one sometimes, though.
That's right.
I'll check Deborah's one more time because in there it does say, and like I said, I did do a screen recording of it, that she was head of household. All right, so that's her death certificate.
I think that's what you already looked at. But her name's on the bottom. It says Susan. But I think that's with the whole family
Yeah, I think this is the
when
whole.
they first moved
Yeah,
to Texas. Because it has the dad at the top.
yeah. So it was just them three at this point in time that lived in the house. So he was still alive in whatever freaking year this is, 1880.
I'm glad I can read cursive.
But yeah, the whole thing with Fanny moving her sister into the house, no. That house was, as far as we can tell, was a Renfro house, not a Kyle house.
Right.
Oh, I'll have to find it because I know I took a screenshot of it because I'm going to do a video on this. Making sure I didn't. That's gonna be find a grave. But yeah, I did a screen recording. That's her death certificate.
How is it almost 10 o'clock?
I don't know.
Flies right by. Actually, Exploring Harley, Jeff had mentioned about you doing a documentary. Would you consider doing a documentary on the truth that you found?
Um, no,
No, you have to pay money for that location to include anything in a
I
documentary.
I would not.
Okay.
It's a lot of money and lawyers involved. It's not just putting out something on YouTube.
Right. Well, not just. Well, I mean, there's more to it than. First off, I wouldn't be able to. Well, I just went to the wrong place. In order to do a documentary, there would have to be a lot of filming done, and I don't think nobody wants to sit through a documentary where I'm not like actually at the house. I don't think that they would enjoy that.
Okay.
Um, I would much rather go about doing it the way that I'm going to do it than doing like a documentary. But I'm glad I screen recorded all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not on this. It's probably under Fanny.
It could be. I want to see if anything's been modified because I know it's here. And it very well could be under Fanny. But regardless,
Right.
this, like I said, she was, when Fanny was living with her, she was, it was Deborah who was the head of household. Uh, that we do know. Let's see. But why it's not showing up here is a little concerning. I'm going to have to get a hold of somebody and see if something was removed because that's just weird. Luckily for me, I have people who like work with this site and the other.
Right.
So this is all Tennessee. That's weird because where is that?
Like I said, it may be under Fanny.
I mean, I'll check that again. But I would
'Cause you've
definitely
been
have to.
clicking on Deborah.
Right. And it's just weird. Like I said, I do have it screen recorded, but it's just weird it's not showing up. That's a little alarming, to be honest. So when her husband died, Fanny was the head of household. Head of household. There's that, and then Fanny Yeager.
It's still the same one.
That's Tennessee. That's her death certificate.
Is it under Renfro?
I went to Deborah's.
I meant like the husband.
All right, what is this?
It's a burial.
Yeah, let's find a grave. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a hold of somebody here because it was here, and I do have it recorded. Thank God. But it's missing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is. missing.
Well, you just go look for it in your stuff later.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and continue to do
Right.
this.
Yeah, that's a little
what-
unusual.
Yeah, I know.
But it's probably there. You're just overlooking it. So as far as your video, when can we expect it to be coming out?
Which one?
Whatever one is going to reveal everything.
Okay, yeah, so that one, I have another video from the Lake Shawnee that I need to work on. So you got to have stuff up for Halloween. So I have Lake Shawnee and another one, and then the research stuff. Once I'm done editing that stuff, Lake Shawnee, then I'll get to work on this. So it could be December when I go ahead and put it out there. But yeah, as soon
Right.
as I'm done with Lake Shawnee, I'll get to work on all of this. I gotta do something. I mean, with this stuff. I mean,
Yeah, after all that work, yeah, we'll be looking
Right.
forward
I mean,
to it.
there was a lot that went into this. I might as well go ahead and put that out there. What kind of sucks though is there's no photos of her. And if I use like photos of like mineral wealth at that time, it'll be kind of weird because people are like, wait a minute, what did she have to do with this place and that place and this other place?
Right.
And for those wondering where or what was across the street from the Hill House, because there is this like open lot that's just overgrown. Once upon a time, it was a civic center. There was a story about a little girl who was hit by a car, and apparently she lived across the street or something like that. That's one of the stories. It's not necessarily the story that we were told by the owners. This was told from other people. And apparently that never happened. So,
Again, another mystery.
right. Because people were like, oh, there was apartments across the street, or there was a trailer park across the street, or something like that. Come to find out, when I talked to a historical society, what was across the street there was a civic center. It was torn down in the 70s, and they built another one. So I mean, it was just old, and they just knocked it down, and then poof, there's a funeral home, and then an empty lot to it, basically.
Right.
So
yeah, that's typical for the small towns. But yeah, I would love to be able to, even like you said, you're going to be busy. I know you guys are always busy, but if you ever wanted to write up something about it and all this whole experience, and so I could add it into the magazine, that would be great.
I can't say too much, but I do believe I think I found it.
No, it says Tennessee.
Let me see. What was I saying? Shit.
I do believe is the last thing that you said. Make
What were we
this last word.
What were we talking about? I don't remember.
I was saying if there was any chance that you'd be able to put something together that we could add it to the magazine about this whole experience.
So I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe somebody else again, looking at the research and things like that, it's gonna go into a magazine. already a well-established magazine. I don't necessarily have anything to do with that.
Okay, fair enough.
After we get off here, I'll tell you more.
Fair enough. Is there any questions anybody wants to ask Joe and Dawn before we let them get going? We're at the 3-hour mark, guys, and I'm sure
It looks like Fanny is almost like lit with them the entire time. But I
she
know
probably
they-
has.
She's an old spinster school teacher.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably did stay
She
with
was
the
the
parents.
third
until they
wife that
passed.
didn't even get buried with her husband.
I know.
She's Louise. She got buried with her sister.
I know. I'll check into this one.
So the saga will continue.
Dun, dun,
Fantastic.
dun.
Done.
Oh, I hope everybody got some great, insight and information.
I hope I didn't bore anyone to death. I
Well,
know.
Yeah,
Joe
well,
had
no,
enough
I mean,
F-bombs there for a while.
it was, all about the information, and everybody's curious. So at least we know where you are at it, all the work and the, and time that you put into it. So it'll make
Dropping
us
the truth.
appreciate.
And
Yeah,
F-bomb solid 1.
Yeah. Hey, I got away with words.
it's, a golden tongue.
Now we're going to drop the mic or leave it.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, wait, we have a quick question here. Do
Oh,
you think that learning to speak Cherokee will help me communicate with the spirits at the conjugal mound that I found? Did I pronounce that correctly?
It might. I mean, I know I'm going to run into a location. We're like, oh, they all spoke Spanish here. And then we're like,
cigarette, cigarroto. You're
uh,
asking for a cigarette. That's all you could ask for.
you like tacos?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like Cornelio Burrito, Beavis and Butthead, learning Spanish in high school.
Luckily, I don't know if if it would work for like Cherokee, but I mean, there are apps where you can like type in what you want to say and then it'll play it back for you.
I mean, it's always worth a try for things. You just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
Just go for it.
So
If
roll with it,
doesn't work,
Michael.
it doesn't work.
That's all. Won't know until you try.
Right. I mean, it really doesn't hurt to try.
Right. That's all you can do. So give it a shot. Let us know how it turns out. That's for sure. Okay, guys. Well, we're going to let Dawn and Joe take off. I hope you guys enjoyed the program, and we will catch you all again next time on the Raw Side. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
For
Later.